Salty Nerd Podcast, Tuesday live stream, the quicker picker upper of podcasts. Somebody told our guest told me I looked like the brawny man today because I'm wearing my nice flannel shirt. It's sweater weather here in Las Vegas. We've got a lot of cool topics in store for you today. The biggest one, of course, is the story of the week. Gina Carano reveals all about the inner workings of Disney. And Kathleen Kennedy has had a rough week, guys.
Oh, no.
A real rough week. South Point took her down, and now Gina's piling on.
Put a chicken in, make it gay.
It's just real. It's a real bad week for old Kathleen Kennedy. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here. What's up, dude?
Hi.
How you doing, man?
I'm feeling good.
I bet you are.
I'm good, bro.
Guys, he is a half a bottle of vodka in.
No,
but we're doing all right. Literally, not even a joke.
Didn't even realize until you said, "Look at that bottle."
I was watching that South Park episode.
I put the bottle away.
Yeah, you had to.
I can't. This is not good.
I was watching that South Park episode, and I was like, "Oh my god, my friend is Cartman or whatever his name is." He's like, Kathleen Kennedy's under my bed. She's in the closet, Mom. Like freaking out. I was like, oh man, I've had that conversation with Matt before.
That fat piece of shit. Yeah.
Matthew Cadis is here producing the show. Welcome.
Yeah, so I just want to let our audience know that we are having our audio issue where just randomly StreamYard decides to mute us.
Oh no!
So occasionally our audio might cut out. And also, Matt Vader 74, can you fix your backlight because I believe it's
did we knock it over?
At some point. So otherwise he's just going to blend into the background
like a floating head with a black blur.
Exactly. Much better.
My giant movie screen fat ass can't see the light anymore.
Look at is that a cold weather type people thing where we wear shirts like this when it gets cold?
This is just me being me.
Well, this is just me being me.
Yeah. Under 60 degrees is flannel weather.
Yeah. Sweater weather.
Pretty much.
And our guest of honor in studio with us today, acclaimed graphic novelist, Brandon Graham.
Yes.
Brandon Graham.
And an Eisner Award winner.
What is the Eisner
That's
Award?
like the Oscars of comic books.
Is it really?
That's what they say. It's an award that spins, which is the thing I'm most excited about. It's like a little globe that you can spin around.
It's actually like it works.
It works.
Oh, that's neat.
Yeah, it's based off of or it's named after Will Eisner, who did the Spirit old comic strip with a lot of spanking in it.
Well, I saw a comic strip one time where Wonder Woman got tied up, and that was unlocked a few things for me. The
original.
The original one.
Do you know about the history of Wonder Woman?
I don't. Please inform me. Please tell me.
I might butcher it, but the creator who kind of came up with Wonder Woman was in a kind of group marriage and was into lots of S&M stuff.
Oh, that kind of explains it.
Yeah, there's a nice dark history of comic books where a lot of the early days were basically like Jewish guys that were kind of being kept out of newspaper strip comics, being like, let's do whatever weird stuff we can get away with over here. And there's a lot of like, mob ties and things like that.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating history.
So what weird things are you closeted about that you put in your comic strips underneath the levels?
I mean, my problem is I throw everything out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I've done this. I'm always like, now I'm promoting this, this comic book tied to a video game and a bunch of other things. So I'm trying to be a polite member of society, but I have a history in porn comics, and I've done a lot of, I've worked all over there, but I've worked in children's cartoons. I worked on some Adventure Time.
From porn to children.
Yeah. Whoa.
Yeah.
That's a big shift.
Not the same thing.
No, they're two different things. Let's be clear. Two different things.
Are there tentacles involved?
Oh, no. We're on this side of the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how you got your start, right? Was like in like kind of like the erotic comic.
Yeah,
field.
exactly.
Yeah.
Well, back in the 90s when I was starting out, that was kind of how smaller publishers would test you out. This is kind of before the internet is what it is now. So people were still buying print stuff like that. And so I remember objecting to it a lot when I was like 23, being like, I don't want to sully my good name. And then I did it for years and forgot that I was sullying my good name. And now I'm just getting on a podcast, and this is the first thing I say. I drawn a lot of titties.
a lot of dick. Yeah. A lot of titties.
Some would say too much. But yeah, that is kind of like the part of my history. And then I had a lot of success. I got brought over to Image Comics, the guys that do like Spawn and Walking Dead, and those guys helped me out a lot. And I did a long run on Rob Liefeld's Prophet character.
Nice.
That was really fun. I have a Prophet tattoo on my arm here.
Oh, is that what that is? Okay.
Kind of like the Lord of the Rings cast, but less popular and cool. We all got matching tattoos.
Yeah. What I actually wanted to talk to you about that because back when I was a teenager and collecting comics was when Image Comics was kind of launching, and like the whole creator-owned thing was like, you know, the big thing, and Spawn was coming out, and Rob Liefeld was just doing like Youngblood and all this other stuff. And so I remember, I think I still have like the first issue of Prophet somewhere in my collection. But like when I saw you do that, like I was like, wait a minute, I never knew Prophet like continued after that initial run. So it was kind of interesting to see that like you kind of carried on that character and like you put him like 10,000 years in the future and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was really fun. I've done more Prophet comics now than the creator of Prophet has done.
Whoa, that's awesome.
But yeah, it was super fun. The original artist on Prophet, actually, I just moved to Los Angeles and he's out there, so I get to meet him for the first time because he's one of my favorite artists as well, a guy named Dan Panosian. He draws very different now than
well, so you won an Eisner Award for which comic?
It was a book called King City that I did. It's, I guess the rough version of it, it's about a thief who gets a cat that can do anything. So he uses a cat as the ultimate like tool or weapon. So he injects it with a syringe and it'll turn into like a buzzsaw, or you know, it'll vomit acid to get through a door or something. And that was kind of my.
Can I ask a question for the uneducated of us out here? What is an Eisner Award? It's like an Oscar for
comic books.
For comic books and stuff.
Is it for the story or is it for everything, like art and story?
I think for the one I won the Eisner for, it was specifically, I think it was best collected work.
Okay.
So because I basically serialized the King City book through Image Comics, and then they put out a big trade that got a lot of attention.
I'm of the opinion that cats are super evil. We just got done watching Alien, and we all agreed that Jonesy was in on the death. He was working with the alien to kill all the humans. And
a little bit.
So I'm curious how do you utilize your cat in your comic book? Is it a what is it, sonic screwdriver from Doctor Who, or it just kind of does everything?
Yeah, it's very much like that. And a lot of it, the cat's not necessarily in on. It's like you grab the cat and you inject it with a syringe and it just does the thing.
So the cat has no free will.
A friend of mine used to make this joke about, like, you know, when people grab cats and they make them dance.
Yeah,
He'd be like, man, I love involuntary puppetry.
Poor cat.
There's a little bit of that. I mean, that's part of the funniness of doing something weird about taking an autonomous being of like a cat that does not want to be picked up and everything. And you're like, this is a weapon now. This is my gun. I have to use. So that was part of the joke.
I love my cat.
You know, it was funny hearing you talk about how the origins of Wonder Woman, because, you know, like it was like kind of like a fetish.
It's a bit of a kink.
Type thing. But I had a friend of mine who was like a super nerd about comic books when I lived in LA. And he started collecting this comic. It's kind of more like a graphic novel, but basically this artist had been commissioned to do like bondage.
I know what you're talking
stuff.
about already. Adam Warren's Empowered.
Yes. And basically he morphed it into like a serious series where aliens would pass on like STDs to humans who had sex with them.
Oh yeah.
And those STDs would give them powers.
Oh man.
And so like you had like all these weird like superhumans that sprung up from having sex with aliens.
Yeah, I actually drew an issue of that series.
Are you serious?
Drew an issue?
I grew up on Adam Warren's. He did an adaptation of a Japanese light novel series called Dirty Pair, just basically like sexy lady James Bond. And that was my favorite comic when I was 16. And then when I started to get attention in comics, I immediately like reached out to all my favorite artists, and Adam Warren is one of the guys whose biggest influence on me, and I got to work with him and learned a lot from it. But that Empowered series is a really funny one because it has these really brilliant science fiction ideas, but you kind of have to convince people like to get past the cover of the superhero girl tied up on the cover.
Yeah, because the main character is like this super hot girl who's always like in bondage.
Right, exactly.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and Warren's really funny about it because he is like he always presents it like, oh, I was getting all these commissions where people just had me drawing this girl tied up all the time, and you know I had to pay my rent, so I just did this. And there's a little thing I was like, it's fine if you like this, like you can just draw your sexy lady.
Everybody's got their thing, man.
Everybody's got their thing. You just sit there.
Press F for feet in the chat.
Getting
right. See Vader's feet.
Getting lost in
I'm
your
a
own
little
work.
stressed here lately. I might have to start putting some feet pics up pretty soon.
Yeah, no, we all support you.
Christmas season's coming.
Christmas is coming
Apparently,
up.
that's a specific part of your brain if you like feet.
Really? Is it like a
I do like feet. I
like a Quentin Tarantino like feet?
Kind of.
Wow.
I really like to massage my wife's foot.
Do you think that
There's
you'd be
been-
too
there-
critical of your own feet if you start putting
Oh,
them
my
in?
feet are gross.
Okay.
But
See,
you know,
yeah, that's
I'm not against a little toe nibbling now and then. That's nothing wrong with that.
The tacos you ordered did look a little strange.
Oh, man.
Little big toe sucking once in a while.
Oh,
You never like nibbled on your wife's
What?
feet. What's wrong with you?
no.
Well, you should. Nothing
He's
wrong
already
with
got 3 kids.
I've got enough things
that.
going on.
You will take her to the moon and back.
Back to comic books.
Sure. Back to foot-centric comics.
Yeah, yeah. How many feet have you drawn in a comic book?
I've had
before?
no vodka today. Sorry.
So you've been in the industry for quite a while. then,
Yeah,
it sounds
yeah,
like
20
20 some
plus
odd
years.
years. How has the culture kind of shifted and changed throughout the years?
I mean, comics is often a dumber shadow of the larger culture, you know. And because I think one of the advantages of comics is you get weird people can do their weird things, and it doesn't have to be like a giant blockbuster movie where you know 1 million people like it. You can put out a comic and like 3,000 people like it and they buy it. So I'm really a fan of the niche market of it. But I mean, it's shifted in a lot of ways that like the larger culture has shifted, where people are just like trying to be very inclusive in ways that sound good on paper, but oftentimes just mean that the work is less quality. And that's been kind of the point I've been kind of sticking to on any kind of larger culture war stuff is that the quality of the work has to come first. And I think when you bring in different varieties of people, it's like, as long as they can do the work and do, because I was thinking about, I mean, this is getting into larger stuff we'll talk about later, but I was thinking about how like, there's lots of things in American culture that we really have adapted and like, you know, if you take mainstream middle American culture, like they love rap music and Japanese anime, you know, and those things do not come from there and they're totally different. I think the problem that we have with a lot of like American culture stuff right now is there's like kind of, it's not being sold to people in the right way. There's a scolding aspect of it. And so I think that is the major problem. It's not even that it's like coming from different voices. It's being presented badly. So I don't know if that doesn't quite get into comics, but
I have a question for you. Then it's from the chat from the Dork Knight. Are you better at drawing feet than Rob Liefeld?
you know, I'm actually not, I wish I've actually lamented that I am not more into feet because I feel like I would draw them better. So I just like, I try, but like I have these like, you know, I have these like gross mittens for hands and my feet are like, you know, they look like someone put flesh socks on my feet. So I'll draw a pretty lady and she'll have feet like that.
Oh man.
How about chess? Are you good at chess? Or you do like the big Captain America 3 foot thick?
Yeah. So yeah, I probably mentioned I worked for Liefeld for a while, and it was funny because he does have the. I gained a certain amount of respect for him because he is. I would describe him to people outside of comics as like he's like the Vanilla Ice of comics.
Right.
Like he was kind of like the butt of a lot of jokes, but then you meet the guy, and he knows that people talk about him that way, but he's still doing it, and he loves it, and like. We did a couple funny things we didn't intend on. The first issue of the Prophet series that we did, my friend Simon Roy did the art on it. And the first shot you see is an alien animal and he's got like 6 feet. And I was like, this looks like a burn that like panel 1, we're just like, look at all these feet, drink it in. But yeah, so I both kind of get the Liefeld jokes, but also I'm like, good on him, still doing it.
I personally have a lot of respect for all those guys, those Image guys back in the day, because they changed the business when Image came around, and for the better as far as I'm concerned. And you know, I was a fan. I was a fan of all of them. You know, I collected all the Spawns. I did all that stuff. You know, so
Speaking of Image Comics, what's your stance on Gamergate or not Gamergate, Comicsgate?
I mean, I think a lot of it is the presentation is like they're. Like, I guess the harshest way I can say is they're not entirely wrong, but they're kind of dicks about it.
Sure.
And I do think my issue with it is how chastised people have been for having dissenting ideas. You know, like people act like some of the people that are like, you know, you have a guy who's like, oh, maybe I'll go on this Gamergate adjacent YouTube thing. And then people act like they're just like, you know, burning crosses in their front yard. And it's like, it's all comic books. Like, I feel like a lot of the culture war stuff, I think everyone needs to calm down and just be like, we all liked Star Wars. We can disagree about where it went, but like, we're not that different of people.
I always thought,
can't do it anymore,
because we've had this conversation before. I think the problem started when we're like growing up, if you liked Star Wars or if you liked comic books, you were a nerd. It was a niche market. You were like the outcast, the weirdos.
The problem started when nerd shit became cool.
It became cool.
Yeah.
Now it's mainstream, and now every Tom, Dick, and Harry or whatever you want to call it has their opinion on something, and that's when you start getting this butting of heads.
Right.
Whereas opposed to like back in the day, 80s, 90s, 70s, whatever, it was more of a local, small group of people, and you had to really try to find those people. Like it wasn't like the internet now, where you just go on Twitter and find somebody hashtag nerd or whatever. It's like you had to go in your town, go to those meetups, and meet that little local group of people who are into the same weird shit that you were into. Nowadays, it's all Hollywood marketed, huge money behind it, and all this stuff. And now it's so mainstream that I think there's just too many people. Too many cooks in the kitchen.
It's like my brother Keg Crusher here says, nerddom getting mainstream was bad.
Yeah.
But was it?
Well,
or was it? I don't know.
I think worse than that, and this goes back to a point that Brandon made, is that the final product is really the important thing. But we have this whole generation of creators who never bothered to study their craft, don't even love their craft. We have a lot of like people in the comics industry who are writing comics who don't like comics, and they're more about pushing a certain point of view or agenda as opposed to telling like a good comic book story. Like we just did a bit on Saturday about self-inserts, where you have like the writer of like the new Spider-Man video game basically insert herself as Mary Jane. Then you have like the Starfire's daughter thing, and then you had like thing
is appropriate. That's a good word. For that.
You have all these examples of women who have put themselves in the property that they're writing, and it's just like, that's not what the audience wants.
No,
I actually don't even. I wouldn't ascribe it to people not liking the stuff. I really just think that it is an element of like, because you could convince someone to like Starfire's like chubby non-binary child or whatever if they presented it to you in a way that was charming, I think. And I really think that it's not an impossible task to do. And so I think I think a lot of people in this side, they like the stuff, but they politicized it in a way that just is getting in the way of the craft. And I think if you do value kind of politicization and you think that you're like kind of sticking it to the man by doing this stuff, it really requires a level of like, you better make the landing then. If you're not doing the landing, then it kind of messes up the whole thing. So I'm almost like I would love it if somebody did something I totally disagreed with, but they did it well, where I saw their point of view. And I always have to keep harping back to like just do everything well, do it better.
Oh, but I think like there's a certain point where like, the creators cross this line from telling a fun story to preaching to you about like, especially like the audience for comic books, because the audience for comic books, excuse me, is overwhelmingly male. And a lot of this stuff is about trying to get them to be accepting of stuff that like most dudes are just like, that's weird.
Yeah.
Like we have a crippled Spider-Man. Like,
we do?
Yeah. So someone who swings around and uses a wheelchair because his legs don't work. There's like 1,000 different Spider-Man.
I thought it was the stick arm things, but I think a lot of that is like, I feel like no one's reading that stuff, but it is. So there's this just to backtrack a little bit. I think that about a decade ago, there was this big movement in comics where they realized that the young female readers were the ones that were the growth market, like the people that were reading the most. They're like the people that are coming in the most, and young readers were reading it because of Japanese comic books and stuff like that. So I think there's a big rush to make work that was inclusive for them. But the problem is that the readership didn't show up as much as the rush showed up. So now we're like, I feel like we're dealing with the fallout of people who are like, let's make comic books for young girls again, but it's still like 50-year-old guys in the comics.
Yeah, but it's kind of like they're taking stuff that like young men grew up with, and they're trying to make it for women. And then like the guys who grew up with this stuff who still collect it are sitting here like, wait, like this isn't what I grew up loving. So like I'm not going to buy it anymore. I'm not going to read it anymore.
Yeah, and that's it.
So like why can't they just make stuff for that for the female audience and leave like the stuff that guys like alone?
Yeah. My reaction to it has been to either read the old stuff or move away and look for the new stuff. Like I was telling a guy at a comic store the other day, like there is not much Marvel can do that interests me anymore. Like, and maybe that's a good thing because I was a huge Spider-Man fan, but I'm just like, like it gets weird after a while where Spider-Man has existed since like he was like in college in the 50s.
So yeah, it's been a minute.
Yeah, and now he's like slowly aging, where like he was at Spider-Man. He was Spider-Man during 9/11. And then you're like, and now he's dealing with whatever major thing is going on right now, and the time thing just gets really lined up in a weird way. But yeah, Marvel's, they're not doing great.
Neither's DC though. Like
I have glimmers of hope there, but yeah,
all the major comic book labels are just kind of like struggling, it seems.
There's a couple writers who I follow who have moved over to DC recently, and it gives me some hope, but it's difficult when you have very heavy-handed editorial too.
So what are you working on right now? You have a video game deal that you're kind of creating the world that the video game takes place in.
Right, exactly.
And so on the subject of like,
are you allowed to talk about this?
Oh yeah.
Okay, perfect. On the subject of like selling it to the right people and getting people excited and the craft coming first as opposed to anything else. What's the video game? What's this world that you're creating for? I'm very curious because I feel like that's a pretty heavy weight for you to take on. Like, I'm going to create this world and people are going to play this video game. And if it takes off and if it grows, then you're going to have to grow the story with it. That's a pretty big undertaking.
No, it's a tremendous amount of trust for this big company to put it in me. And I'm trying to take the responsibility on as seriously as I can. But I'm essentially this company started by Rodrigo Chicho and his brother Diego. They came up with this very weird science fiction concept called Moonray. They just put out a trailer and we're getting funding for it. And they reached out to me and said, let's hire you to do the lore of the video game. And so I started working on the video game and eventually evolved into me just doing a comic book of it. And normally it's like you do all the initial sketches and you do all the write down documents and everything for video games to base their stuff off of. But they're just giving me the freedom to just go ahead and do a finished comic that is building the world. And they're kind of basically cherry picking what they can use for the video game out of the comic book.
Nice. What kind of game is it?
It is right now it's a player versus player game.
Okay.
But the idea is to make it a giant open world game. I should explain the basis of the lore behind it because we're doing so when I did the Rob Liefeld comic Prophet, we moved it 10,000 years into the future, and it was this very far future science fiction idea. And I feel like with Moonray, I'm using a lot of that as the basis, and we're moving things even farther in the future. So we keep selling it as a post-human science fiction comic and video game. And so the idea is that eventually humanity moves to these spacefaring bodies. Like we download our personalities into these bodies that can live in space that never die. Oh. And then what happens when those bodies die is the material left over never goes away. So they start reforming that into new people. And they don't remember who they are. They don't remember that they have any connection to humanity, but they have this kind of core idea of who they were as people. So the main character is basically just formed out of this pool of what was a dead god, and he is sent out into the world to kind of figure out his place in the world. And we're using it to explore a lot of ideologies, because a lot of my frustration right now with a lot of popular culture is I'm frustrated in the culture war stuff, and that it's often sold as like, this is one way to think, or you can think this way. And it feels very two-party. Mm-hmm. And I think especially for younger people or for anyone, just kind of exploring different ideologies and seeing what works for you, and kind of just allowing the idea of testing out different things and thinking of, being like, I'm going to read a book on Buddhism because I want to know what that's about. And it's like, if you're going to complain about Muslims, read the Quran, like figure it out, and then you can disagree with it. It's fine. But at least
know what you're talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to put that into a science fiction world.
Deep. Right on. And
it sounds super deep.
It does. I mean,
I feel like I'm watching a Denis Villeneuve movie.
His arm also turns into a sword, so we're not getting too.
Okay, there you go. Yeah,
that's some Pacific Rim shit right there.
I love it.
Are there monsters and robots?
There are both monsters and robots.
Well, then I'm sold.
And that's a lot of things. I always sell these. I remember once I got into a conversation with a science fiction author I like a lot. I'll name drop. I was talking to William Gibson, and I was sounding very self-important, and I was like complaining to him about like, oh, comics is just, we have to escape this kind of childish thing behind it. And then he was like, what's the project you're working on now? And I was like, oh, it's about a werewolf with two penises. So it brings me back to, I feel like the reality of it always brings me back to the ground and being like, it's still got to be fun. Because like I said, you don't want to preach to people. You want to hide those ideas in deep. Like I love fiction where you read it and you're like, I don't I got something totally different out of this than what the author intended.
I want to go back to, I was talking with William Gibson.
Oh, sure.
What were you talking about?
So my ex, I lived in Canada for a decade and was married to a great cartoonist named Marion Churchland, who still is doing illustration. And her best friend is Gibson's daughter, so we would hang out a lot. And I poker faced it for years. Like, he didn't know that I was a super fan of his work. And then at one point, I think his daughter was like, he does science fiction comics. He even read my stuff, and she's like, he calls your house the Villa Straylight. He quotes it like I would basically bug her a lot.
Mhm.
Like, I would quote her dad's stuff to her just to bug her, and she was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, have you seen the inside of his house? Like, what does it look
Yeah,
like?
yeah. It was really cool because something cool about it is he would write in is just throwing his personal business in the street, but he would write different books in different rooms of his house.
Oh.
And so that was really exciting to me. Is like, and just to go through his bookshelf and be like, oh, all the foreign editions of Neuromancer, or like, this is where he wrote the Periphery or something.
For people who don't know, so William Gibson is one of the most influential science fiction writers to ever exist. He invented cyberspace, essentially. And
Coined the term the Matrix.
Yeah, Johnny Mnemonic was based off of his short story.
Oh yeah.
And The Peripheral, the original series on Amazon, was based off of.
I love that show. I was really bummed out when they canceled season 2.
Yeah, I was amazed at, because I'd read the book and the show really captures it and was fantastic. And
he basically invented the cyberpunk genre, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's really interesting because as a creator, he got so popular at doing cyberpunk stuff. He did the first Sprawl trilogy, and then he really moved away from it with his other stuff and was basically trying to write things a little more set in modern day. And the Periphery was really like his return to science fiction. Although I had always maintained that he writes, everything he writes feels like science fiction, because there's this kind of attachment to like, he'd talk about someone putting on a jacket and he would describe it like it was science fiction armor. Like, he was so obsessive about the minutia of everything that it, like, I feel like you could write a Western and make it feel like science fiction if you talked about, like, you know, his gun, like you did a laser gun or something.
Did you understand the ending of Periphery, the TV show?
I don't remember being confused. Or should we spoil it for people?
Well, it was a weird time travel thing, but like, I remember, like, I was with it all the way up until the very last episode. Then I was like, wait a minute, I don't know what just happened.
You got to go back and watch, because there's separate timelines. It's almost like a Back to the Future 2 thing, where like each branch is a different thing, and she can transfer knowledge from one branch to another. While that one dies, she technically dies, but her knowledge goes to the other branch, which then
I do remember now. By the way, this is my thing that I'm going to plug one or two is, have you guys seen the Sarah Connor Chronicles TV series?
Oh yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, because that, one of the greatest things about that is the branching different timelines from different futures all coming back to the present.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always trying to sell my friends on that. They're like, I don't want to watch the Terminator TV series, and I'm like, it is maybe neck and neck with T2 is my favorite Terminator.
It's a shame that it only got one season, because
2 seasons.
Was it 2 seasons? You're right. So like, I seem to remember that like the first half of season 2 was like, they didn't have the budget to do a lot of what they wanted to do, and so it was kind of slow.
Yeah, but it gets really weird near the end of season 2.
Well, I remember it ends on this cliffhanger where John Connor goes into the future, right?
Yeah.
And the apocalypse has happened, and nobody knows who he is.
Yeah, they're like, who's John Connor?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was kind of weird mind trippy thing, but it was a great show.
Yeah, and they had other factions of Terminators, which is a really cool thing. Yeah, anyway, just to go off on a tangent.
No, it's totally fine. So I'm just looking real quick. I'm looking at the game. Moonray is the game. It says coming soon. Do you know, are there any speculations when the date might come where we can play this?
I think it's going to be playable really soon. I think it's on Steam. Right?
Is it Steam on right now?
Or it's not playable
like an early
yet,
access type thing?
Yeah, I know. I've seen a lot of play tests of it. It looks really fun and weird. Like I said, I think it's going to start as a player versus player game, and the idea is that after a year or two, we're going to make it an open world game.
Nice.
Yeah, but at this point, I'm much more.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. It's.
I'm gonna check it out.
I'm looking for a new
the
game.
Screenshots look great. The art. How much involvement did you have with actually the artistic creation of the world that it takes place in? Did you give them like ideas? Because I'm kind of getting like a Ralph McQuarrie vibe off of some of these things.
Yeah. Wayne Douglas Barlow is a guy I'm looking at a lot. If you know his work, he did this really weird version of Hell. But yeah, I'm. So basically, initially I was doing direct game designs. Me and my friend Farrell, who also worked on the Prophet series, and then I just focused on the comic. And the cool thing is they've been taking things from the comic. Like I'll draw a weird, alien tower or something, and they'll be like, "We made it in the game."
Nice.
And that's been really interesting. And
that's awesome.
And seeing the translation, because the idea is that we're going to try to branch it out to a bunch of different mediums, which is really fascinating. I think I can talk about we've got like an animation test that I just saw that looked really cool. And it's weird because it's such an alien idea. Most of the characters don't have faces. You know, they're just like, you know,
like helmets or something.
The main character's head looks like my thumb. Just like, and he just looks like he's made out of this white clay, and his arm is like a club. Because he's just like formed out of this stuff, and he's like kind of figuring out. And this is another weird aspect of the game comic storyline, is that this material Mium that the god characters are made out of, that the Meg characters are made of, it's formable into anything. So you can make weapons and you can make buildings. There's a whole city made out of Mium, but it's like conscious city.
It's like an alive city.
An alive city, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
And there's a character that was a sword for a long time, and then they form her into a human, and she's like, I remember being a sword. That was different, you know. That's cool. Been a really fun way to kind of play with just how weird science fiction can get.
Cool. Right on.
I wanted to ask, since you're like in the comic book industry, what's your opinion on AI art?
I'm mostly kind of bored by it. I don't know if that's a good
I get it.
I've seen there's a lot of people kind of panicking about it, and I totally understand. Well, a friend of mine, actually, Carson Grubaugh, did one of the first AI generated comic books and got a lot of flack for that. Or I don't even got a lot of flack. There's a lot of people complaining about it, and he was just like, let's just run I think it was the C.S. Lewis Abolition of Man story. He just cobbled it together through AI and made a book, because it was almost this like perfect storm of like, what a weird time to put this story about computers replacing men through this AI stuff. But I kind of feel like for what I do, it doesn't really challenge it that much. And I've seen some use of it. Like there was a video on stoicism I watched on YouTube, and they use these Miyazaki style AI illustrations. And so if kind of an everyman can use it to fulfill their kind of projects, and people still are excited about kind of the auteur making their own work, then I don't think it has to be a negative thing.
So you see it more as like a tool to be used?
Yeah, that's what I see it as. But it's difficult because I also don't personally have a use for it. Like I like looking at the photos when they have the photos that you can't tell it's not AI, and then have extra fingers. Like that was fun for me. But then it quickly was like, but if it gets it right, it's not as fun. Like it's not like a group of girls all hugging each other and there's an extra arm that no one knows where it's coming from. Then I'm if once we move past Lovecraftian horror, it loses my interest.
Right on. All right, guys. We've got a little bit of housekeeping to do. Brandon, thank you so much for being here. We'll get into the main topics here. But first, I want to address the chat. Let you guys know our goal for today is 5 new members. And also, I think we're less than 6 away from 15K.
We're 4.
4?
4 from 15,000.
4 from 15. If you want to turn this into a 15K celebration live stream, please share this with some friends who might not be subscribed yet, and get us to that 15K.
Kadish did say we'd have a celebration stream at 15,000.
Let's turn it. There's scotch in the other room. Let's go.
Oh, I can't do that.
You can't scotch.
We'll do that next week.
Vodka and scotch can't do it together.
Hear me out. Your feet will be pickled and worth more money.
I will make. I will get foam molds made of my feet, and we will send.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
And we'll make like Vader foot Christmas ornaments out of them or something. Something gross. Something weird. That's awesome.
What is wrong with you?
I don't know, man. It's fucking
Vader feet Christmas ornaments.
Yeah.
Get them now, kids. Jesus Christ.
We're not going to do that.
No, we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do that.
We've gotten 2 super chats so far from our friends over here. Whiskey Jack for £2. Being a prick and unable to do the work. Bad mix. Yeah. If you're going to want to have a message, at least do the work well. Like make it good, make it so. We always talk about that. Like it's fine. There's movies that we grew up with that have messages for sure, especially in the Cold War era.
Most good movies
have messages. Yeah, but
I mean, G.I. Joe. The more you know.
You do it well, and
right?
you do it well, and nobody's like, it's like, no, I get it. Good movie, decent.
There's a difference between pandering and having a message, to your thing,
for sure. Yeah. $2 from the Dork Knight. What's the membership goal? Also, happy Halloween. I keep forgetting that's Halloween today. Thank you, Danny. Happy Halloween. Membership goal is 5, maybe 10. And honestly, the big goal right now is to get us to 15K. So if we can do that during this live stream, that would be dope.
Hit the sub button.
Yeah, if you're not already a sub.
Or tell people to sub.
Yeah. We've been grinding. It's like 4 subs. How long does it take a podcaster to get 4 subs? Like a month.
Apparently forever.
It's fine. It's what it is.
It was your guys' Shining review. Just scared.
Oh,
off
yeah.
I know.
everyone.
I think we lost.
I think we
subs
lost
on
some
that
people
one.
on that one too.
Sorry,
I had a-
Kubrick is just like whatever.
Oh, I saw that. So, do you guys agree with King that the book was better?
No. I'm not saying that. I just thought the movie itself was not scary and kind of boring.
These two guys thought that The Shining was pretentious garbage.
Oh,
I didn't think it's called garbage.
I actually really like the
kinda
sequel.
I did.
You might have.
I said that.
Have you guys seen Doctor Sleep?
No, I've heard a lot
Yeah,
of things about it.
I saw.
But
You've seen
I'm
it?
also the same dude who watched The Exorcist for the first time at 51 years old
Yeah.
and said, "This is stupid."
I also didn't
It's-
like The
it's-
Exorcist.
It's not scary.
I don't know. People have opinions on movies.
Look at the
man.
rubber head going spinning around. I was like, oh, whatever.
Jack.
It's like, fuck out of here. Stupid.
I get it. I
I
get
thought
it.
the best part of The Shining was when Jack was
Jack Nicholson is the best part of the whole movie.
telling Olive Oil to stay the fuck out of his room. We're gonna make a new rule. It's like
you
okay,
hear me typing.
stay the fuck out.
I was terrified by the furry sex scene in that.
That was more scary. Yeah. And you're just
Yeah.
like walking down the hallway and you just look over and you see some dude getting head by a teddy bear. You're like,
Honest- I would have liked The Shining if it was an hour shorter. I mean, that was I think my biggest complaint. If you're gonna do all this weird Kubrick shit, just make it an hour shorter.
Well, the funny thing is that Stephen King made a miniseries based off of the book in the
Mhm.
90s that was very faithful to the book, and it was terrible. So, like, when you compare that to what Stanley Kubrick did,
Yeah.
there is no comparison.
All right.
Kubrick is the superior one.
I believe you. I believe you.
So the problem is just The Shining's not that good.
Yeah,
Use the story.
exactly. Like
That's it.
I'm alone on my hill where I say Stephen King. I do not like him as a writer.
I don't
But
like
No,
that's
you're
just-
not. You're
that's
not
just my
alone.
I don't think you're alone.
I don't think I'm with
I think a lot of his stuff is overrated.
I actually really
sure.
enjoy his son's work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Also, his son did the Lock and Key series,
Oh okay.
Oh,
That's
okay.
really
Yeah. I didn't know that.
and Horns was another thing they adapted from his stuff. The thing
We're
with the
getting
Harry
a little
Potter.
pushback in the chat from Mr. Thomason.
Oh, yeah. The Shining's a
Shining.
masterpiece. You troglodytes.
Troglodytes.
Good word. Cruel. Wait, hold on. This is a Lost World reference. Cruel, but good word usage.
Anyway,
go.
he had to do what he had to do to fake the moon landing. I think we can all agree.
Ah, thank you. He gets
There
it.
you go.
He gets
We
it.
actually talked about that in our review.
Yeah, we did. You had to do it, man. All right. So the first subject on today's list, what do we got? Are we talking Star Wars today, Mr. Kadish?
Yes.
Oh, here we
All
go.
right.
Star Wars.
Star Wars update.
Oh.
Let's talk about Star Wars.
3 to go.
3 to go?
3 to go.
Oh, yeah. 14,997. All right, folks. See if we can get 3. Let's see. What do we got for Daisy Ridley? We
What are
got
you talking about?
I don't know. Let's scroll down a little
What
bit.
kind of shill bullshit website is this?
I don't know. Star Wars news site. Star Wars New Jedi Order film. The rumors, production. Oh, he went past. I can't read it now. Production schedules and latest speculation. Oh God.
I don't even know what we're talking about here.
Well, it's that new movie with Daisy Ridley, where
Oh.
she is. What did Kathleen Kennedy say? She was going to be taking on the mantle
Put a
of
diverse female in it.
creating a
and
new Jedi. Let me finish.
Make her gay.
Creating, put a girl in and make it gay.
And lame. Don't forget
And
lame.
lame.
Make it lame.
It made me laugh when I first heard this. They were like, "Oh, she's going to be in charge of a new Jedi Order, and it's going to be in turmoil." I'm like, "Already? She's already bad at her job."
There we go.
There we go.
Yeah.
Good old StreamYards. I don't know, dude. I don't know what to say about Star Wars. Did we lose it again?
No.
Oh, okay.
I think it's fine.
I like
So-
Daisy Ridley. That's a bummer to me because
So the story is basically saying that because of the actors' strike,
Yeah.
The other 2 announced movies are unaffected, but this one might be pushed back. And there was rumors of the title being Star Wars: A New Beginning, but they're saying that or Lucasfilm is officially saying that there is no official title for the movie yet. But I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting because, like, with South Park coming out and basically roasting Kathleen Kennedy and
Yeah.
how they've handled Star Wars and stuff like that with the pandering, that it seems like this movie in particular is going to take the brunt of that. So
did it take South Park to really like nudge them in the right direction?
It takes South Park to push society over the tipping point of where it was already at. There's so many things out there that people are afraid to speak of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I know, yeah.
That they just won't.
Well, South Park even did
it takes something like the South Park episode to come out to give people that little extra.
It's okay not to like this.
Little, thing to push the thing. There's a reason Gina Carano put out her tweets the day after South Park came out, because that South Park episode was a tipping point in the culture wars.
Ooh.
It was a spike in the culture wars. You know what I'm saying? It's ridiculous what's going on out there about what people are afraid and what they can and can't say. You know, I was talking at work about this week to one of our newer employees. Pretty nice dude. He's cool. He's 25 years old. His entire career has been living in college and all this kind of stuff. And we were telling jokes, and I was telling an Elon Musk joke. And the joke is, name me your favorite African American. What's a loaded question, right? And the answer, you know, for the joke is Elon Musk, and everybody goes, right? Because he's from South Africa, right? But I asked my friend this question, you know, and I knew it was loaded, and he goes, "Oh, that's a cancel question. I can't answer that."
He said that. He said that's a cancel question.
That's a cancel question.
Oh,
and I'm like, oh boy,
that's gross.
You and me, we're gonna have some chats.
That's gross.
But you know, that's the way he answers this question. And I can't even get annoyed with him because he doesn't know any better. You know what I mean?
I don't know about that.
He's programmed.
Oof.
And it takes stuff like this South Park episode to start deprogramming people, to making people realize that they've all been
duped
and brainwashed and programmed.
Yeah.
And, you know, this whole cancel culture bullshit thing that we've all been living for the last 5 or 6 years has to go.
It's been more than that.
You know,
like
whatever it is, whatever it's been. But, you know,
the crazier thing about the South Park stuff is that your average normie might know that like Star Wars isn't good anymore, but they might not know who's responsible for it. And this show really put a face to, you know, to why, you know, Star Wars has been in decline for like the last half a decade.
I don't know. The younger generation is so plugged into social media and YouTube and stuff like that. You're telling me they don't know who's in charge of Lucasfilm? I feel like that's.
I think people who don't watch YouTube and people who just watch dance videos on TikTok are by and large ignorant about. For sure. Like it's kind of like with the Game of Thrones stuff, right? Like everyone agrees season 8 was shitty. Like even like you could go to like a random dentist, and while he's sitting there working on your teeth, he'd be like, "Oh, that season 8 wasn't very good," right? But
I asked you about your family.
But they wouldn't know that, you know, Dan Benioff and DB Weiss were responsible for that type of thing. You know,
Am I just so plugged in? I feel like Kathleen Kennedy's a household name at this point.
I don't know I vaguely know who she is. Star Wars, I feel like for me is like, it was like a restaurant that you loved. And sometimes when you go there, they bring you just a pile of shit. And sometimes like, cause there's a recent miniseries I'm spacing on the name of about the side character from,
is it Ahsoka?
No, the one about the guy who dies in the pre.
Oh, Andor.
Yeah. Andor. So Andor was like, possibly my favorite Star Wars I've ever seen. When I watched it, I was like, this takes.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was like high quality, really, like because the first 3 movies, I think I really like 2 and 3, if we're honest. And then after that, there's so much bad Star Wars. Like at this point, there's an insane amount more bad Star Wars than good Star Wars.
We've all had that conversation. There's like 2 decent movies.
I every time I go to rate and rank Star Wars. Everything, just like 2 good movies.
Yeah,
I like the Droids cartoon too.
One mediocre movie, and the rest are pretty much shit.
Yeah,
and it's really sad because, you know, we've all grown up loving Star Wars. At least I did. So it's just.
I just think it's so weird and kind of funny that a show like South Park is basically creating the future for Lucasfilm at this point. They're like, hey, you can't get away with this anymore. Everybody knows what you're doing, and it's going to end up changing the new slate that they have coming out when the writer strike is over, or the actor strike is over.
It takes a couple guys who give no fucks because they've already made their money.
Yeah,
and they just have a real view of the world and the entertainment, and they see it and they're not afraid to put it out there.
The interesting thing about that, and we'll probably talk about this when we get to the Gina Carano stuff, is that Kathleen Kennedy has like a method of punishing people who speak out against her, where she has like, like a street team that'll go out and like disparage you. And
the most disturbing part about Gina's story is having to sit on a Zoom call with a bunch of freaking
we might
flip flops.
Might as well just get up to that.
Let's pull that article up.
Stupid movie.
But like
nobody's gonna go watch this.
Nobody's gonna watch this
Disney movie.
No. But like that to me was the most like yeesh thing, was like she's got to sit in front of a group of people and just be berated as part of her like comeuppance.
That's cruel and unusual.
Because she to me seems like somebody who was essentially like someone who's doing a great job and just had a different background than her peers, and that was unacceptable. And so they're like, you can't have essentially they're like, you're culturally different from us, and you're having a more conservative background or more right leaning. But there's no indication she didn't treat everyone great, and then everyone seemed to like her, and they're still like scolded her out of a job. And it seems like that is definitely like the core of a lot of the modern problems.
Yeah, it's like you can't be too different from everybody else, or we just won't work with you. It's like, come on, man. But that was when Gina told her story, and this is a couple years ago now, I guess, right? How long ago was it that the whole Mandalorian thing happened with her?
2 years ago.
Was it 2 years ago?
I want to say 2 years ago.
But she never actually came out and told her story.
No.
I think like we had heard about it tangentially.
I think she did a Rogan episode.
She did something with Ben.
She was on Rogan.
She was on
Ben Shapiro,
but she never like went into like super detail.
I wonder if there was like some kind of an NDA or something like that.
Oh, sure. Probably a 2-year NDA.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't talk about anything.
Yeah, you're not allowed. It's very convenient how all of a sudden she just like kind of had a little mini self-therapy session on Twitter, and it was eye-opening. It was pretty epic. It really was.
Well, good for her. I mean, I'm glad she can speak out now. Gina's a Las Vegas local too, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if she's a local,
well,
but
she's from here.
She's from here. She's from Vegas. I'm trying to find the part where they quote Gina in this article. I can't find it. I'm trying to scroll through.
Like her latest tweet here.
Is this? Oh man, she
it's
really went all out.
It's a novel. Yeah.
Whoa. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. You guys can read it.
I haven't looked at it for a while. Apparently, they're not restricting.
they took the 180 characters away, I think.
7 years ago.
If you're verified, which means if you spend $8, you can basically tweet as much as you want, as long as you want. You just only the first however many letters show up in the tweet itself. So you hit the expand box, but good stuff.
Yeah, she just had a terrible experience with Lucasfilm and all that stuff.
So
everybody at this point has read this tweet so far, so we don't have to read it.
I mean, so there's the initial tweet that she made, but then there was a response to that tweet that this is a response to.
Yeah, well, no. She made the retweet, and then that dipshit on that web podcast that I'm not going to talk about talked some shit, and then she responded to that.
Yeah,
and that's what this is.
This is that response.
Yeah,
but basically, like in 2 massive tweets that she's put out, she's basically exposed exactly what happened to her at Lucasfilm. And, her only crime was posting a meme on Twitter. And that's the thing that like broke the camel's back, got her fired, and completely screwed up Jon Favreau's plan for season 3 of The Mandalorian.
And she had her own show too. Like,
the
Rangers was supposed to be
She
hers.
was going to be like the lead in that.
Yeah.
Whatever show. Right.
Yeah.
Rangers thing.
I wonder how much Jon Favreau was able to stand up for, or if he even bothered trying.
I think there's probably a reason Jon Favreau isn't as involved as he was.
Fair enough, man. So is this it? Is this the nail in the coffin for Kathleen Kennedy then?
I think it's a turning point.
Yeah.
I think it has to be a turning point.
Because I know.
I mean, it's X, it's Twitter. I don't know. Nobody knows. I mean, in our world, it seems like it's a cataclysmic, continent shaking thing in the overall world. I mean, you have to kind of look and see what kind of mainstream stuff it's picking up. Is it being covered on Fox News? Is it being covered on any of the mainstream media sites? I mean, I know like the Direct, and then like Bounding into Comics. I know a couple of these, these websites that cover this kind of stuff are covering it, but it's like Variety, it's Hollywood Reporter, or any of those things covering this kind of thing, because when those kind of outlets start picking up on this kind of stuff, then it's something different.
Well,
you know what I mean?
What's interesting about this situation is that Disney's actually suing Paramount
Right.
over that South Park episode.
It was that guy. Sorry, I'm catching up on this Twitter stuff because I don't use Twitter, and it's that dude that came after Gina.
That fucking moron.
Oh man,
Yeah, everybody's favorite.
real stepped in that one, didn't
I
he?
got an itch in my flats too.
That's amazing.
I need some Fletcher
What an
cream
idiot.
for my Fletcher.
Oh man,
You know,
what an idiot. Okay, I'm sorry. I apologize for derailing you. I saw his name pop up.
Do you want to inform us?
I don't know.
no,
I
don't want to give him any more.
Yeah, everybody knows who he is.
Is it going to make it harder when you start selling the Christmas orders your feet and he orders the most of them?
Yeah, I think Fletcheroids are appropriate for this dipshit.
Sure enough. I hear you. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Are you getting it?
Yeah. Sorry,
Please,
Kadish, go ahead.
Oh, was I supposed to say something?
No, you were in the middle of a thought,
yeah.
and I just was like, my mind blew because I know this guy, talked to him, and I'm just like, oh, you moron. Happy Halloween, folks. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, Disney is suing Paramount over this South Park episode, which means that
What?
they're very worried about the consequences of this show going out there.
Suing him for what exactly?
I don't know.
Copyright claim? What are they suing him for? Using a likeness?
Defamation.
Defamation?
I have no idea.
I mean,
I
this
think
is
parody
the,
law would
Yeah,
mean,
they're protected for
this
sure.
is the kind of thing that could probably affect their stock prices. You know, so who knows?
They're already on the way down.
They're already
Well,
going down. So.
I mean, their upcoming movie Wish, which is their big family holiday release,
Mhm.
nobody knows about it, and it's expected to lose a lot of money. And then you have the Marvels coming out in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
That's not gonna make
It's
it.
gonna doze. It's gonna be awful.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so like they've had like all year, like their movies have just been losing money hand over fist. It's been getting critically panned, and people are getting fed up with all their, you know, kind of like pandering, you
Mhm.
know, to use the South Park term, in their movies. And you know, it's kind of interesting if you trace it back. Like it really is like once they bought Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy had like some real power in the studio, that you saw this shift happen where
Mhm.
where it's all like, you know, put a woman in it, make her gay and
Gay
lame.
and lame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that was, you know, South Park kind of like came up with that mantra, but it's like the reason it's resonating is because it's absolutely true. Like
100%.
that's their strategy.
Even this new movie Wish, I believe, I don't know much about it, but I believe it fits that criteria.
I will defend the new Haunted Mansion. I enjoyed that.
Did you like that one?
Yeah,
Haven't
I
seen it yet.
like
It
Owen
had-
Wilson a lot.
I saw like 2 trailers for it, and then it was like released 2 weeks ago. And I'm like, it came out already?
my wife went to her friend's house who has a home theater, and they have movie parties every once in a while. So she goes over there when I'm at work because I work nights. And I asked her, and they watched the Haunted Mansion. They go, oh, how was it? And she was like, oh, it's terrible.
Well,
I'm like, oh, okay.
Did you guys see Sorry to Bother You?
No.
No, I don't
It's
think
a
so.
fun, weird movie. It's directed by Boots, who's usually a rapper,
Hmm.
but he did a this thing about what it's like to work in a call center.
Oh, I was gonna ask if that was the one where it's like the really big kid. I think that's an Amazon original. Anyway, I'm sorry.
Oh, this one's a weird thing. It's basically like it's just a guy who works at a call center, and Danny Glover teaches him to speak with like he's a black guy, and they teach him to speak with a white voice. And
Oh,
so
okay.
They bring in like Patton Oswalt to do his voice or something, and so it's this,
Oh,
this
no.
really severe joke version of stuff. And
I've
it's-
seen a trailer for that.
Yeah, and they start like genetically engineering people to be half horse, and it's just this really weird, insane movie. And so the actor from that, along with Owen Wilson, were in Haunted Mansion, and sometimes someone's charm carries it through. Like it's it's a
It's on
basic
Twitch.
family film, but
How did it compare to the Eddie Murphy version?
I didn't see. I'm still mad about Pluto Nash. I can't.
Ooh, talk about a bad movie.
Yeah.
I have to say, I think we're getting trolled in the chat from the Twitch stream, but that is a fantastic piece of dick art using your keyboard.
That is incredible.
That is amazing.
That's digital art right there,
Good job,
folks.
man.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Good
I don't know how
troll.
to get rid of it either.
Good troll. but
I don't know if you
that's
guys have
fantastic.
the Louvre's email, but
We
think
should
that-
frame that
Yeah.
and hang it up on the wall. That's incredible.
I mean, only people on Twitch can see it.
Only people. Okay, so the YouTube. Okay, I was gonna say, I'm like, YouTube doesn't know what we're talking about.
Everybody's going to Twitch.
Everyone,
Yeah, go
imagine
to
the
Twitch.
most beautiful penis you've ever seen. That's all. Just do that.
It's the best pixel art dick you'll ever see.
Man, look
Go
at
over
that
to
thing.
Twitch, check it
That's
out.
incredible.
The best pixel art.
It's the best ever.
The best penis I've ever seen.
Ridiculous.
I know penises.
Gotta love digital art. This is an NFT right there, man. Sell that thing for like
That was
250,000.
made by an AI.
Yeah.
This is made by Skynet.
Yeah.
I should take a screenshot of that and put it in the chat, but I don't think I can.
Send it to everyone in my family. Let them know that love is still out there.
Oh yeah. It's good. It's good, man. I got no problems with it at all.
Oh man.
What a wang.
I love our
Oh,
stream
man.
sometimes.
We don't care. Like, aren't you going to take that down? I don't know how. Sorry.
It's like the one person, he's just like trolling himself.
It's on Twitch. There's only one person over
It's like,
there.
He's not even listening to us now because he's
It's
smoking a
Kathleen- it's
cigar.
Kathleen
oh, I'm gonna
Kennedy.
get those guys.
It's Kathleen Kennedy just like,
I'm gonna put a dick in her stream.
You know, I may not like how she runs a company, but man, she knows how to make a
she
dick.
knows how to make a
I mean,
good pixel art.
It's even got like a realistic curve and shit to it.
Some veins.
Some veiners. That's good. A little hairy ball sack.
Is
on
it
the
made
bottom.
out of? Is it all made out of numbers?
Yeah, it's all dashes or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Look strong. Yeah,
that's
pull it-
amazing.
Put it
That's-
closer to your face.
Yeah, it's like ooh, 3D. I bet if you like get googly eyed, it would like become a 3D image.
Does it come out of the screen if you do that?
Come out of the screen.
What's the Japanese horror movie where it slowly climbs
Oh.
out?
Oh, the Grudge, right? Yeah.
No, The Ring.
The Ring.
The Ring.
The Ring or Grudge?
It was
Which one?
The Ring.
The Ring.
It's like I like that dick pic better than any super chat we've gotten today. That's amazing. That made my day.
Oh man, I hope this is a turning point. I don't watch a lot of South Point or South Park.
South Point.
South
That's
Point.
over here.
That's over there.
Couple
That's
blocks
a casino
away.
down the street. I don't watch a lot of South Park.
Well, you know what's
but-
interesting is that, like, you know, Gina Carano coming out publicly
Mhm.
and speaking out about this. We know for a fact that a lot of her co-stars were like in her corner about this thing, but they were silent because they were afraid of
Yeah.
reprisal.
Mhm.
And so it'll be interesting to see like how many people who've worked at Lucasfilm or with Kathleen Kennedy will follow Gina's example and like kind of like start coming out against her. Because this could be a moment where, like, you know, we've said for years, it's like, why doesn't Disney fire Kathleen Kennedy?
Mhm.
Because she's obviously fucking stuff up over there. And this could be the moment where the tide starts. Like, this could be her Me Too moment, essentially.
Just everybody just dog piles on now that it's safe because South Park did it. I don't know. That seems weird too.
I don't know what kind of a point it is, but I think it's some kind of significant moment in the culture wars that have been going on. I think it's something. It's you know, it's
Would it be okay for these people to come out now though? Like, where were you 2 years ago when this was all happening to her? Now you're gonna come out because you have like a little bit of a shield. Like, that's kind of dickish too, though.
I have a theory that a lot of this stuff is going to be like, you ever look at pictures of yourself in like 1995 and you're like, what? I thought those shoes were cool. I feel like a lot of the like people being horrible people online will almost be like get washed away in time, and then someone would be like, look at your tweet from 2010, and they'll be like, oh my god, was I just quoting Mein Kampf directly?
Oh my god!
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
And
Yeah.
demonetized.
People say,
good job, man.
yeah, it's fine.
You just like got his kill.
It's all
Time
right.
that it's in German anyway.
There's a giant digital dick in our chat. What are we gonna do? What's YouTube gonna do? Take subs away from us? Do we hit 15K?
Is it a
don't know.
digidick?
We were two
No,
away.
we're two away now. We're two
Let's
away,
go two
folks. They're just not gonna hit it.
I bet that dick artist does subscribe.
I hope they do.
I hope so.
Fluffy Panda went over to Twitch to specifically see the dick.
I mean,
Nice.
if he can make that good of a dick in digital art, imagine what he can do if he was really trying.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like-
if he went with AI.
I was like,
Yeah.
can you make like a digital like girl bit? You know?
I guarantee
I
you,
wanna
we're
see
gonna
that.
have it in the
Let's go.
chat now.
Do you think that level of skill translates to other parts of his life? Like, is this just a master at everything that's
Well,
graced us with a dick?
if it is, then he's a rich dude. He's a very successful person.
From my gold bathtub, I
Just hit the semicolon button a million times.
He's doing that with his left hand while on the other side he's just managing his taxes
Yeah.
or whatever.
He's like
Yeah.
one of those guys with the Rubik's Cube. He can solve it in like 12 seconds. He's like,
He's solving it with
one
his
hand.
feet.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I don't know.
Jeff Smith. Aw.
Brandon, what do you want to see happen
Cock.
with cock? I'm trying to be serious over here, people.
We're
Can't.
talking about dicks on
It's
live
fine.
stream.
What do I want to
Whatever.
see happen
Whatever.
with dick art in America?
Yeah. What would you do with dick art? You used to make dick
I
art.
know. I like to, I like to have a touchstone to return to. A touch bone, if you will.
I think Fluffy Panda answered your
There
thing
it is.
there, Vader.
Close enough.
There it
The
is.
female lady bit.
It's like this dude obviously doesn't know us very well. If he thinks he's gonna get us with a,
Well, look
with
at
a
this.
picture of a dick. It's like, whoa,
What are these guys gonna do?
We're gonna,
Or he knows
no,
it's too
we're gonna
much.
make you famous, dude.
Shut down the stream. Shut down the stream. No, dude. We're gonna own it. I'll put it up again.
That's a good dick.
People are so creative.
I don't know. It's
I
pretty
don't
good.
have time to do that. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I would never be able to draw that.
Yeah,
with
me neither.
keyboard.
There was a I went down a weird little almost started a hobby. I got this close and I realized how hard it was going to be, so I stopped. But there's like a legit pixel art thing that you can do where like
certainly.
you create like the 16-bit characters and you can animate them. You can create little worlds and stuff like that. And there was this program. It was free. You could download it online. I can't remember the name of it, but I downloaded that thing and I was like creating little. Remember when I was making those little
Bro,
caricatures
listen,
of you?
I was impressed as a youth being able to spell boobs on a calculator. So
It's the
so
same
impressive.
thing. Same thing. But have you seen those kind of things where they do like landscapes, but it's like 16-bit little pixels and
Yeah,
stuff like
that's
that?
really cool. And,
Yeah.
I mean, even I've seen the things where people make like little plastic dioramas that are just all pixel art and everything.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's good. I wish I have friends that my friends who do comic books, their hobbies always lean into like Warhammer 40K. And for me, it always seems like a second job,
Mhm.
like painting little miniatures under a microscope.
That seems like a lot of work.
Oh Lord, stuff's starting to come in on Twitter. I'm
Yeah.
afraid.
Oh yeah. What did you tweet?
I didn't tweet anything.
Uh
It's
I
art.
know that dick has gotten out there in
It's
people's
gotten
souls.
out there already. We made it famous. Freaking R2's already got it up.
man. He's got
Show it's him too. It's
Oh, beautiful. I'm presenting it like it's a circus. Like,
Look at this.
ladies and gentlemen, see the purple-headed monster.
Oh, Brendan's so glad he agreed to come on our
It's like, I
show.
can't believe these fucking idiots.
If it wasn't for you guys, I'd be talking about dicks in my hotel room.
And we are officially one away from
One away.
15,000. One away from 15,000.
And
Nice.
Danny the Dork Knight just
Gifted 5 memberships.
Nice. Thank you,
Danny.
Danny.
The Dork Knight returns.
Yep. Thank you, sir. Thank you for
Oh, my
that.
goodness.
That met our goal. I don't even know how to recover from that conversation topic.
This is what I love about our live streams.
Whatever, man.
Never
Yeah.
know where we're gonna go.
Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy sucks. Star Wars is in a bad place. I hope it gets fixed.
This is
If,
really
if
good.
South Park is the one that makes Star Wars better, so be it.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
That's not what I wanted to happen.
I
But
want Matt and Trey to direct a Star Wars movie.
I have a theory on why, as it my there was always a Star Trek versus Star Wars, almost like the Prince versus Michael Jackson
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
in the
yeah,
80s.
yeah.
And I have a theory that Star Trek has a stronger foundation because they showed what a Starfleet city looks like. They're like San Francisco in the future. It's basically that. Where I think a lot of the problems with Star Wars is we got a clear idea of what the small outer planets were like, but then when they show the main cities, it always feels a little generic, wonky science fiction.
Yeah, I kind of see what you're saying. Like, there's only 3 planets in the entire Star Wars universe because we keep going back to the same ones, like Jakku.
Desert, ice, and city.
Yeah, desert, ice, and cityscapes, and they're all the same.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't think Andor did a cool job at having these kind of brutalist city things, but it didn't really feel. I don't know if it felt really that unique.
there was.
I
it
don't
was
know.
better than the Mandalorian, where you went to the Jack Black and Lizzo
Oh.
town.
Ugh.
Yikes! I liked Andor too. It was very much a slow burn. I understand why some people don't like it because it doesn't really fit into like the Star
I
Wars
thought
box.
Andor was
Wait,
brilliant.
Did
didn't
you?
we get
Yeah.
to go to like South Beach on Andor?
Yeah, we went
Yeah.
to California.
Yeah.
Yeah, and got immediately arrested.
Yeah.
Immediately arrested, which fits.
I really like the really slow burn kind of plains planet where they like had the little where they were like walking across the ground.
What?
Where they were going to the where where all
Vader's
the
having another stroke.
You okay?
no, where where they were going to the little installation with the Imperials where they were gonna
the heist planet.
the heist planet.
Oh, yeah.
Where
It
the
was like
thing was,
Scotland
where
or
it was in
something.
the middle of nowhere for no
Yeah.
reasons other than just to be there.
Yeah, it was an installation, like in
So-
Norseman.
but they had to walk for 5 days, and we got to see every step.
Yeah, it was like Lord of the Rings.
Super fun.
That's not the part that I'm talking about. My favorite parts were actually with the Skarsgård guy. I can't remember his first name, but
Oh, that was great.
he was freaking awesome in that show. His little speech there at the elevator about like, what have you given up? And he just freaking like lays into the dude.
Yeah, that was
Fantastic
and
speech.
it added a gray area because it was like the like Andor joins a bunch of rebels, and then they're like, we got to kill this guy, and then you have the guys that are good guys going to kill our main character. And I
Yeah,
feel
because they don't trust him.
Yeah.
Are you okay? Are you still laughing at that, Dick?
Fucking R2, dude.
What did R2 do now?
He posted a picture of him with the dick
On Twitter.
on Twitter. It was just funny. It was just funny. I'm sorry. I can't get over it.
R2's our meme guy.
Listen,
If we do something silly on the live stream, in seconds, R2 will have a meme of it out there, just plastering it all over Discord
I'm
and Twitter.
already a fan.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Very skilled.
Takes great skills.
With great power comes great responsibility.
Dicks, salty nerd podcast guest, and a giant cock. It's like
With great dicks comes great responsibility.
Yeah. All right. What's our next? Fuck Star Wars. Whatever.
Fuck Star Wars. What's next? More Star Wars.
Gen Z hates romance. Okay, this is interesting. Youths say no to sex and romance. Youths in plot lines of TV shows and movies. I guess they are not fans of Game of Thrones.
Well, you know,
Yes to content focused on friendship. UCLA. Get out of here.
College.
Yeah, no, we're not going off of what UCLA students say. That's not happening right now.
Like these sexless nerds wish they had friends.
I will say that because you haven't seen Game of Thrones, which right?
No, I've seen a couple episodes.
Okay, but you haven't like watched it in full.
No, I don't.
Is he doing it again? Oh man, he really put it out there. That's like 3-dimensional.
Beautiful.
See this.
This is the Kevin Smith stream. Just dick and fart jokes the entire time.
Perfect.
Now will be forever. This is here. I'll show people what we're looking at. It's just a phallic symbol out of semicolons. Good for you guys.
I'm sorry you came this week.
I
really am.
couldn't have set this up better for myself.
So what I thought was interesting about this study is basically you have Gen Z, which is 25 years and younger, and they're all basically saying that like they're sick and tired of graphic sex in the movies and TV shows that they're watching, and they want more of a focus on friendship and platonic love.
Good for them.
Oh,
I don't know how
wow.
you push down a whole generation and take their lunch money, but
Well, what's interesting is like, because I remember like when we were growing up in the 80s, it was very like when you saw a boob, it was like a big deal because like you know most movies didn't allow that type of thing in there, especially like TV. You never saw that stuff on TV.
You know how many teens went to go see Titanic just so they could get a look at Kate Winslet? Like
sure.
That's why that movie made $1 billion.
Yeah, and
Kate Winslet's boobs made $1 billion.
Oh, 100%.
Really?
Yes.
$500 million each.
It's impressive. It's impressive.
yeah, not everyone's as easily as impressed as you,
Whoa.
Vader,
Slow down.
about
3-dimensional digital dicks.
yeah. Yeah, Gen Z doesn't want to see that type of
No,
thing. Either.
get that.
They have higher standards.
But like when we were growing up, like a lot of the movies and TV shows we grew up on are the type of thing these kids are saying that they want to watch, right? Where it was like, you know, very sexless, and like if there was romance in it, it was kind of like a light touch. And then like you know, nowadays everything's just so like blah, like
Yeah, and
like
like
in your
that
face.
show Utopia, which I don't think is directed at the same people, because they're in this study they're saying 47% of teens ages 13 to 24. 13's young. If you're taking
I mean,
like,
that's the Gen Z like
Yeah.
age range.
yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, I get it. Like, I do agree that there's a desensitization of TV shows nowadays where they're just like grotesque gore, fighting, decapitations, all that stuff, plus sex. It's much. It's a bit much.
I look at it like this. This new generation is just, this is their way of rebelling.
Yeah.
You know, so we rebelled because and we embraced the over the top sexuality and the gore and the nudity and the weirdness of the world. So then our kids are going to rebel by going the opposite direction of that, right? So it kind of makes sense a little bit to me.
There's also an interesting factor in this, which is the Kathleen Kennedy factor, you know, to
Right.
bring it back around, which is like most of the relationships that these kids see in the movies and TV shows are gay relationships.
Mhm.
And a lot of them are saying like, hey, like we don't want to see that. We just want to see like friendship.
Let's just
and-
have some fun.
Yeah.
There's an interesting sexlessness to a lot of the way the gay stuff is presented too,
Mhm.
which is really
They're shy about it because they can't have it out there because then China won't show their movie.
yeah. So
And
it's
they-
playing this weird political line where it's just basically like I don't know a polite way to say it. It's a lot of sexless queer people presented a lot, and it's like, you know, you're not getting the Tom of Finland just like this dude's out there boning dudes every day, and also he's great. He's a great Jedi. Like I feel like that would be, you know, like you remember Doctor Who character. Doctor Who had a gay Indiana Jones type character.
Captain Jack.
Captain Jack, yeah. Like I feel like you don't get a lot, and that was really like a gay writer being like, "This is what I wish I saw growing up," and you're not seeing a lot of that in a lot of the modern stuff where queer stuff is presented. It's always, it feels like it's like
Well, I don't know.
gay for
like,
10-year-olds.
Like there was, you know, that famous scene at the end of season 2 of Star Trek Picard, where two characters or it was into season 1, two characters who had never been like seen as gay before were all of a sudden gay.
Seven
in
of
a
Nine
relationship,
and Ralphie
Raffi,
Check.
yeah.
Right? Yeah, like the two characters have no chemistry whatsoever for a whole entire season,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden
Well,
at the
that's
end
what
they're
they do.
like,
They just take people who they think people nobody cares about, or just
it's
something about somebody that they can like
what's it called? Ship,
just
right?
shipping.
Yeah,
Just shipping.
It's like there's a comic book out there about Wedge and fucking Porkins going
Jack
on vacation,
Porkins?
going out there and fucking on vacation
No shit.
and having a gay vacation. It's ridiculous.
That's what I like to hear.
It's like, come on.
That feels
Come
like someone
on.
just like seeing how far they can get a joke.
It's
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
so
but you'd be surprised how many like movies and TV shows made for teens are like all about like the gay relationship.
Mhm.
And I think that a lot of these kids are just like, you know, I can't
Over it.
relate to that. So like, you
Put
know,
a chicken in it. Make
yeah,
it
make
gay.
it gay and lame.
But I think it goes back to my earlier point of like, I think it could be relatable because there's a ton of gay stories that I think are well made. Like there's the Wong Kar-wai Hong Kong movie Happy Together, and he famously did a story where he just showed the actors the script and it didn't say that they were gay. It was just a good script, and they was like, "Ha, tricked you guys, you're gay."
Yeah, but like I don't think a lot of Gen Zers are watching movies like that. You know, like a lot of like Disney's famous for like putting like what was it that woman, that executive said, like the hidden agenda.
It's not so hidden anymore.
Yeah,
Something like that.
into their movies, and I think a lot of these kids are just like kind of like weirded out by it. in a weird way.
I'm with. I think Vader's on
What?
point. It's a rebellion thing.
Yeah.
Every generation is going to rebel against what the
They're
last
going
one's
to do
doing.
the opposite of what
Yeah.
their parents did.
Yeah. So
So if their parents are heathens and hedonistic and absolute freaks,
they're going to be
their
little
kids are going to
angels.
be little church going,
Yeah.
little honest angels. Yeah,
Yeah, there's
for
a
sure.
little bit. I have a little sister who's like 25 now, and I'm always amused at the way she annoys me. Like she listens to music, all the music she listens to sounds like cover bands of Morrissey.
Yeah.
I'm sure my older siblings probably think the same thing of me. Like, oh, you just want to be different.
It'll be very interesting to see how your kids turn out.
I'm very curious
because
too.
you don't, you know, you're homeschooling the shit, right? So you don't expose them to a lot of the mainstream nonsense that's out there, and it'll be interesting to see how they're going to be more like Gen Xers in their whole little
Yeah.
in their little world.
Well,
I have a
I'm-
feeling
I line more with you.
Yeah.
I'm not a Gen Xer, but I
No.
line up more with
you're
you.
a Gen Xer in spirit.
In
you're
spirit,
a
right?
Gen Xer.
So if I'm raising
100%.
if that's just kind of a scary thought line to go down. I don't know if I want to do
They're
this or
also
not.
growing up
But-
in Vegas, which is
It's a little
Right.
different. That's a little different too. Yeah.
like, so the normal children grew up next to the circus.
Yeah. No, we have the mobile billboards of like, call this number for hot chicks driving by while we're on the way to school and stuff like
And
that. So
I
yeah.
also just want to say I can't believe that somebody doesn't want to be number 15,000.
We got one
We're
more.
999.
One more to go.
And nobody wants to hit the fucking button. Come on, guys, hit the button. Let's go.
One of go ahead.
Sorry, it's a $2 super chat from Danny. I'm stoked I can fit my suit for Kadish's wedding. Good job, buddy. I gotta lose some weight. Oh, sorry.
One of the interesting things about this study to me is that you know the young upcoming generation is always going to be the demographic that Hollywood and
Yeah.
corporations are trying to court, because you know like they're the next generation of brand loyalists and consumers and stuff like that. And so if this is the type of thing that the next generation wants, will Hollywood pivot and give it to them?
They
Will
will.
we see like a shift in the Hollywood mindset of like, okay, let's scale back on like the graphic sex and stuff like that and do more stories
Yeah.
about friendship and lollipops.
I'm all right
Yeah.
with that.
We'll go back to, Lifetime channel.
It's a pendulum, man.
Yeah.
We're gonna go real far on this one direction. It's gonna go extreme.
In 20 years,
gonna
that
swing.
generation's kids are going to grow up and they're going to be crazy.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for mainstream being mainstream and essentially having weird stuff be off the beaten path.
Mhm.
Like you don't need to have the most punk rock thing ever being a Disney movie. You want to have places for indie films. And,
yeah, it's important to have things in there, and I don't know, like a little bit more difficult to find and get into, because then people who find them are like, oh, they treasure it. That's how we felt. At least that's how I felt when I found nerdy things that I really liked.
Doing things to piss your parents off.
That's a staple of every
It's
generation.
just kind of what people do.
Yeah.
It's like I listened to Iron Maiden because it annoyed the shit out of my mom.
I only do things to annoy my little sister. My mom's actually a science fiction author, so I really am too in. She's very Catholic, and that didn't quite sit with me. But
so that's the rebellion part, right?
Yeah, but that happened later. That's not.
Yeah.
Judas Priest. Oh man. With that big flaming queen at the front.
I like this Richard Nixon photo they have of. They look like both the Emperor from Star Wars and Richard Nixon.
There they are. Put those two together and it's Emperor Palpatine, right?
Oh, okay. So the next subject.
Are we going on to something else?
Yeah.
I love how we do this on Tuesday streams.
Just whatever.
It's so much less choreographed than Saturdays.
I don't
like what's Kadish got us looking at today?
I don't like choreographed stuff. I like to just kind of wing it and have fun.
Yeah.
And then we get, pixelized dicks in the comments. We have a good time for about 20 minutes. It's good.
Giant dicks.
Former Marvel chairman Ike, I'm not even going to try,
Mutter.
Gives control of Disney shares to Nelson Peltz.
Now,
so two really rich old dudes.
No. This is actually kind of. I want Matt to explain this really quick, because this is kind of a big deal.
Is it?
Yeah.
So Nelson Peltz has been making a play to take over the board of Disney, the shareholder board, so that he can wrestle control away from Iger and right the ship, essentially. Like, he doesn't like the path that Disney's been going down. And so he's been trying to do a hostile takeover for a while now and buy up more Disney stock so that he can get more seats on the board. And, Iger's been pushing back against him on this. And Ike Perlmutter used to be like the head of Marvel, right? And famously, like, Kevin Feige pulled like a soft coup and went around him and had Bob Iger basically appoint Kevin Feige as like the chief of Marvel. And Ike Perlmutter was just kind of like relegated to the head of like the publishing arm. And Perlmutter's always been very bitter about like how that played out. And so now that he's retired, he's basically giving all of his shares of Disney stock that he had as like, the head of Marvel to Nelson Peltz, which is going to give him even more power on the board and could push him over the line to the point where he could basically kick Iger to the curb.
So bold.
And
that's such a power play.
This is the guy who could fire Kathleen Kennedy, basically, if he wanted to.
Okay, breaking news.
We hit 15?
15.
Yes.
1,000 subs.
15K.
15,000 subs.
Thank you, guys.
That is amazing.
There you go.
Finally.
Thank you, guys. Now, nobody unfollow.
Yeah.
No matter what we say in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah. Anything could happen.
Giant cocks besides itself. And so this means celebration stream coming up.
Oh yeah,
maybe
we'll have some
next week after the wedding. We'll have to do it.
So do you have any indication what kind of stuff Peltz wants to come out of
That's my biggest question. Is I'm like, I don't know if there's going to be a big difference if this guy takes over,
or it could go worse,
right? Yeah.
Well, I think he wants to get Disney back to like the less politically divisive, more family friendly kind of like avenue that it's known for, essentially. Like I think he's legitimately sick of all the BS that's going on there, especially because it affects the stock price.
Sure.
So a lot of people are kind of like low key behind the scenes rooting for him to kind of come in and take over. But then again, like there's that faction where it's like, oh, he's a right winger or something like that. Even though I don't think he is.
They'll have a smear campaign for
sure.
He
does have a red tie on.
It kind of looks like Joe Pesci.
Well,
yeah. Something really fascinating about Disney is that I feel like during Walt Disney's lifetime, he got really good at being like, his job was basically to be innovative and try new things and do everything. And so it was really fascinating that a lot of Disney, I don't know how much this holds true now, but after he died, there was such a thing of basically like trying to copy someone who was trying to do new things all the time and take things in new places. And I guess the way that modern Disney has done that is, or not modern, but like seeing like a place like Pixar being really innovative and then buying Pixar.
Yeah.
And then firing the guy who made Pixar what it was.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then firing him and doing much worse Pixar movies like we all wanted.
Like we just covered a story the other day on the Saturday live stream about how the current head of Pixar is saying that he feels like they've lost their way.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of their movies have been relegated to Disney Plus like exclusives, and Pixar is no longer like a marquee theater draw because everyone's now doing like the same kind of CG animation stuff like that.
But they're doing it better though. Like Illumination Studios with like the Minions and Mario, like they're picking up the slack.
That was great.
Those movies are awesome. Like I know if you don't have kids, you might not like them, but
that looked like an old school Pixar movie to me.
Which one?
The Mario movie.
Yeah, Mario. Okay,
Yeah, that one was really fun.
But I mean, like just the stories themselves, like they're just fun, entertaining stories. The Minions are, it's a popcorn throwaway nonsense film, but there's nothing wrong with it. No. There's nothing offensive about it. There's nothing. It's just a kid's goofy little movie. Listen. All we want is entertained. Yeah. Is it like Pixar is so focused on sending a message?
Yeah.
And then Illumination is like, well, there's a whole swath of the world that just wants to be entertained. Here's the thing about all this entertainment now.
They cannot sit there and tell me that these studio executives, these directors, these people that are responsible for these things don't know about the culture wars and what's going on.
Yeah, they definitely know.
If they continue to go down this path, then they're just doubling down on their nonsense pandering shit.
Money talks.
And that's just, and they're going to keep on losing money.
Well, what's interesting here is you have like three pillars within Disney, right? That they all acquired. They bought Pixar, they bought Marvel, and they bought Lucasfilm. And under Disney's umbrella, each one of those companies has steadily gone down the drain in terms of like quality and the type of stuff that they're producing. And it's all because of like the Kathleen Kennedy rule, make them gay and lame.
Yeah.
Right? That's literally what they've been doing, but only for US audiences. Like when they get overseas and they're like, oh, all these homophobes and bigots overseas, we're gonna pander to them, but not in America, right? So
isn't there a famous Star Wars poster where they took the black guy and made him as small as possible?
Yeah.
Oh no, they took him out.
They took him
completely. Yeah. No, it was John Boyega, like for the Chinese release and stuff like that.
He called him out on that too.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, don't freaking boast that you're gonna put a black guy into your movie and then erase him when you put it overseas.
It's like, I was doing this for China.
Well, the big thing was, remember the big lesbian kiss in Rise of Skywalker? And it's like, hey, we took that out in the Middle East and in China because they don't allow that shit. And it's like,
well, is Skywalker even going to get a rise if he's into lesbians?
Exactly. Power of lesbians.
We got a $20 super chat from our boy Art to the Icky, our man who makes all the
dick memes.
The dick memes out of us.
Thank you, R2.
Thank you, R2. Says, congratulations on 15,000 subscribers. Amazing achievement and absolutely deserved. So happy for you all. Salty Vader K. Jude. Here's to the next 15K subs. Cheers, my friend. Thank you so much.
I hope it doesn't take 4 years.
I hope it doesn't take 4 years.
And don't miss Danny's chat about that.
Danny's up there.
Danny.
Scroll.
Oh, okay. My bad, Danny. I didn't see that. You just hit 15,000. Thank you. Yes, $2 from Danny. Yes, we did. Awesome. Yeah.
Man, that number's been driving me nuts.
I know. Every time we get to a big round number, you freak out.
Every time we get within like 200-300 of it, I'm like, come on, let's go.
And it always takes forever.
Oh,
it's the grind. It's the grind. Sorry, it is what it is. Whatever.
It's fine.
We love our
20,000 coming up tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Let's do it.
That's another big round number.
We need to go piss off another director.
Yeah. Do you guys remember when we were struggling to hit 1,000?
Oh God.
And then like Mangold
like freaked out, and then we hit like 2 in like a week.
I don't think our guest knows the Mangold story.
I don't.
Do you like telling it? It happened to you.
He does like telling
it. It happened to us by proxy. It was
well, you tell it.
Oh, I tell it.
I was assuming The Shining was the last director you pissed off. I was like, maybe go after a living guy next.
Yeah, no.
Stanley Kubrick doesn't listen to us.
So
he refuses to. He's in heaven just listening to other podcasts.
So this was years ago at this point. It was
2 years.
2 years ago when the development of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny was still kind of early on.
I've heard nothing but good things.
No. And Cage was like, hey, just in case you're getting excited for Indiana Jones and whatever, I don't even think we knew the title at that point. He's like,
just remember these things.
Well, yeah, there were some pictures of Harrison Ford that leaked.
On
Twitter.
And he's like, hey, just
freaking out.
In case you're excited about this movie, just keep in mind that Kathleen Kennedy's producing it. Spielberg's not directing it. Kasdan's son who wrote Solo is supposedly writing it,
Yeah.
which may or may not have happened. We're not really sure. And then there was a fourth thing that you
Harrison
mentioned.
Ford is
Harrison
9,000
Ford's like
years old.
80 years old. And that was all it was. Like he didn't hashtag
FYI.
anybody. Yeah. He didn't hashtag anybody. He didn't @ anybody. It was just like a into the void.
Sure.
And Mangold somehow got a hold of it
Yeah.
and just freaking went on like
James Mangold had apparently been hitting the bourbon a little
Oh, I
hard.
assumed
Yeah,
it was
like-
the homoerotic website Mangold.
like a Adderall fueled Twitter rant for like
12
literally
hours.
for 12 hours
Yeah.
straight. He was just
Oh.
like freaking like angry
Started
tweeting at people.
adding at us and talking shit about our jar of corks in the background.
Oh, it was
and
wild. Yeah, he took pot
Yeah.
shots at our studio.
Yeah.
Not this one, but the one that we had before. And I was like, Jesus, dude.
calling that out.
Yeah.
My studio loser.
Yeah, you freaking poor person.
Yeah, nice backlight.
Yeah.
Where that cost
Nice-
you $20.
nice vinyl bricks. Because this guy, he wanted to be like Joe Rogan, so we had like a fake brick background for,
I like
for about
that
3
here.
weeks. We had it back there, and yeah, it was funny.
I
And,
would say bring it back.
yeah,
I just lost my audio.
you did.
My headphones don't work
I can hear
anymore.
you fine.
You can hear me fine?
Yeah, you sound.
Can
Okay.
you hear us?
Okay. I will say the Indiana Jones.
You can't
movie-
really hear us.
It just died. Just went out. We got nothing. That's so weird.
Oh, that's no good.
Anyway, technical issues. It's fine. We'll take them off.
All right, well,
Um,
but yeah. Anyway,
Yeah.
he went off on us, and people picked up on it really quick in the whole YouTube sphere,
Huh.
and next thing you know, we gained like 1,500 subs.
Okay.
in like a 24-hour period.
Maybe he's the guy that did the dick, and he's a big fan now.
Could be. Was that me? Was that my fault?
yeah, it was your fault.
What did I do?
You stepped on it.
Oh,
It's okay. We'll figure it
Okay.
out. Keep rolling.
dude, I just.
The show must go on.
Oh well,
So anyway, that was it. And anyway, Mangold went off on us, and people picked up on it, and it became like a little bit of a thing, and we got a lot of support from it.
Yeah, we grew.
In fact, we went from like 600 subs to like 2,000
Something like
overnight,
that, yeah.
and we got monetized for it.
Yep.
nice.
And it was all because smartass over here
Yeah.
Just had to say
He
something.
had to pop off. you know, I mean, whatever. And so
Had to
it's
pop
all
off
good.
on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, those all seem like reasonable points.
You know,
and
because-
you didn't prove me wrong.
That's what we said.
Because the $200 million movie director making, you know, Indiana Jones decides to go after this tiny little podcast that's literally nothing at the time.
Yeah.
You know, it was really funny.
It was very
So
strange.
it was-
I was very taken aback by it. 'Cause I
Yeah.
like his movies. His
Yeah.
movies are pretty decent for the most part. But
Okay.
well, he did like Logan, Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah.
Oh,
like,
Logan was
those
great.
those are decent movies.
Yeah. I will
Um,
say I didn't see the new Indiana Jones movie because it didn't look like it
It's
was
not
for me.
good.
But
It's
it made
terrible.
me think a lot about what I actually wanted. And maybe this isn't what anybody wants but me, but I felt like if you're going to have an 80-year-old actor, you could do a slow burn detective thing
yeah.
and make it more like the Poirot movies that are coming out recently, but have Harrison Ford playing Indiana Jones. I thought that would actually be a fun way to have the character grow up with the audience.
Well, Mangold accused me of being ageist for pointing out that Harrison Ford was 78. And I basically came out and said, like, look, if he's doing action scenes, like there's a real danger that he could get hurt. And then like
Yeah.
a week after this happened, he broke his shoulder.
Mhm.
Yep.
On the set.
Good
Yeah.
job.
on
You
the
cursed him.
Yeah,
That was
good job.
It's your fault.
You jinxed him.
You broke Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Good job, man.
No, I don't know, man. Yeah, it's been a wild ride. 15,000. That's a good mile marker. I like it.
That's it. We're
Um,
done. We retired.
Mhm.
We quit.
Yeah, that's it. I've met my goal. That's what I wanted to do
That's
my
it.
whole life.
15,000.
15,000. I'm gonna quit now.
Oh, 15 million.
15
Let's
million.
go.
I don't know if I can handle 15 million, man. You see the people who have that big of a channel and they're just
Can you
freaking
imagine all the dicks we'd be getting?
just
Oh,
a ball
Jesus.
of just a ball of
We just
stress.
have to have a separate channel for dicks.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, if
Just
you're gonna put dicks in the chat, just put them over here. All right. We'll give
I'd
you
rather you
highlights.
do it in the house.
Put it in the dick channel. We'll have
You
a
just-
separate dick channel.
You have a giant podcast network, and there's one podcast that just does weekly dick.
Yeah,
dick
it's like
reviews.
we will judge your dick art.
Oh, that might be a skit right there. Give us your best digital dick art, folks.
Yeah, that's not realistic. That's not a realistic
That
dick
doesn't
right
look
now.
real.
That's a porno dick right there.
R2's like, that's an actual picture of my dick.
That's AI.
You're in the wrong line of business, buddy.
You used AI for that. That's nonsense.
Jesus.
Oh man. Well, exciting things happening over there in Disney. I wonder if everybody's like stressing out in Disney, just like, oh my god, we're gonna
Oh,
get
God.
bought out.
I hear the when's the call? When's the investor call?
It's soon, I think.
November,
Yeah, it's coming up.
fourth quarter,
It's gonna be
2023.
pretty epic. I have a feeling.
Do we get to listen in on that like
I think
the last
you
one?
can. I think you can.
Is it a public thing?
If you really care that much, I think you can.
I'll just be curious because you know people are going to clip out.
No,
like,
I don't feel like I need to worry about that shit because we got guys that we know that do that for us.
it's true.
And then they tell us all about it.
It's true.
It's got to go to WD Dubs.
Yeah.
And Culture will tell us about it. And you know, those guys. I don't have to worry about it. That's what their channels are for.
I'm going to know more about Brandon's game because now he's got me hyped to go try a new game out.
I just want to go learn how to do giant dicks on my keyboard.
Like, games be damned.
Games be
Giant dicks
damned.
me out.
Yeah, how many dicks in Moonray?
I got a fun call the other day. The head of the company called me up because you know, like I said before, I have a history doing a lot of like kind of just doing very, very free work where I'm like, if I have a funny sex joke, I'm going to put it in a comic book,
Mhm.
you know. And so for Moonray, I was presenting it with this idea of like, well, it's a video game. I assume they just want to keep things generally all ages. And then we started talking to Japanese companies, and the head called me up and he was like, hey, what we're hearing over there will work really well if we can put some samurai swords in there and maybe put some more sexy ladies in there.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Hot chicks, samurai swords.
And he was prepared to convince me. And I was like, I was holding back for you guys. I like this job, you know?
Yeah, hey, when you get the green light to do that.
Yeah. So it is, I've been really impressed at how simpatico I have with everyone working on this game. And it is,
Yeah.
I think that is maybe a positive thing about the weird culture thing we're in right now, is it does kind of push like-minded people together. And you almost have to be like, we're going to get rid of the fear and just do whatever we can to have the most fun and do the kind of games and comics that we want to find out there.
Yeah.
Gotta make a comic book that has hot chicks, samurai swords, kaiju monsters, and dicks in it. To make $1 million.
All right, done.
Giant, big, veiny dicks.
Is that the monster? Those are the kaiju?
Whatever, dude.
And it's a chick.
Whatever.
It's a hot chick
The
with
look on his face.
it's a hot chick with a samurai
Is she
sword.
gay and lame?
No.
No diverse, gay and lame.
It's a
chicks
hot.
in it.
That's a
hot
hot
chicks
chick.
with giant tits,
Hot
big
chick
old
with samurai
fat
swords,
kicky asses. Yeah, dude.
fighting giant kaiju dicks.
Let's do it. Let's go.
Beautiful.
Make a video game out of it.
Giant
Ah, it's a
sand,
giant dick. Ah.
giant sandworms
Kill
coming
that
out.
shit. Giant worm.
Ridiculous. You are ridiculous. All right, what's up next here? Oh, this chick. Why is she in the news so much? Jesus
What did I do?
Christ. Rachel Zegler. What movie did she tank this time?
Who knows? Oh, the Hunger Games thing?
Oh,
The Hunger
okay.
Games
Rachel
movie
Zegler
that-
claims The Hunger Games was the first story. Whatever. Okay.
You're like, never mind.
Never
Shouldn't have a
mind.
podcast.
God dang it.
First female action hero.
Whatever. Sure. Watch some more movies. Maybe. Watch some older movies.
Says it was the first story to depict a female character that was anti-establishment and anti-government.
Oh, I don't know.
Jesus.
I hope her quote was at least limited to film, because that quote sounds like she's also talking about all these other media. Like,
Yeah.
the first story told around a fire that had a woman in it.
I'm pretty sure Ripley wasn't a fan of the company, right?
No. She was pretty anti-company.
She's pretty
anti-establishment. Yeah. But we always go back to Ripley. Who else can we talk about?
You know,
There's-
Princess Leia, she didn't like the government.
That's another one that we can
The
always go
Hunger
back
Games
to.
is not talking about the current government is all. It's also
Yeah.
setting up this totalitarian,
Mhm.
let's hunt people for sport government. And so
Yeah.
that's not really hard to be against. I don't like eating people. I think that's wrong. Like, that's really speaking truth to power.
Gay.
This chick just can't win, can she? Is she going to be unhireable after
Dude,
these
they're
movies
not-
come out?
I'm pretty convinced that they're not going to release Snow White.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to make
Oh,
it.
did you see the new picture that they put out? And they have the CGI dwarves.
Oh, yeah, with the fake dwarves.
The fake dwarves are
Yeah.
obviously like photoshopped in.
CGI'd in there.
It's like, oh my
The
god,
lighting's all fucked up.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
terrible. They were like, look, guys, this is what it's
They
really gonna look
they
like.
look like yard gnomes from freaking Hobby Lobby.
I mean, it's closer than what they had in the last picture.
The
but-
Hobby
I
Snow White and the 7 Hobby Lobby gnomes.
Nice. I put some thought into it. I think the only live action Disney that I'm actually at all interested in seeing is if they do a really weird, creepy version of the Robin Hood one for furries
Oh, with the
I want-
animals.
with the animals.
I want
love
to
that
see a
movie.
meme of Rachel Zegler on a couch with 7 gnomes standing behind the couch.
The Brazzers one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
The seven
it's basically
dwarfs.
a gangbang. right?
Yeah, exactly. You know. Come on. Snow
If
White.
you know.
You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
you know.
There is
come
a
on.
weird
Doc was
implication.
giving it to her. I mean, everybody knows this.
I did. I watched Snow White again recently, and there is
The original?
The original. Yeah.
Okay.
And there is kind of a weird implication that the dwarves are into her. And I remember asking my girlfriend at the time, like, how does Snow White feel about this?
Yeah. Bashful is not that bashful.
Yeah.
Okay. Just so everybody knows.
I mean, Dopey is the weird one because he's a little developmentally disabled, and you're like, I don't know how that's if he's gonna have good boundaries with her in the
We're
long run here.
canceled now. Canceled.
I don't know what the word is to describe somebody, just the cognitive dissonance. Is that the right term?
I don't know.
For somebody to say
That sounds like a Robert Meyer Burnett term.
it just means you believe something that's not really factual. It's just it's like you're purposefully
That's called delusional.
delusional. You're just purposefully ignorant of what the real word is. She's like, this is a quote from her. No, it was like Susan was the first to write this young woman who is anti-establishment, anti-government, and really standing up for what's right in a really unconventional way without an era of sweetness. What?
What'd you say? What?
That's like, no, man, that's not true.
I was
It's just
reading-
not true.
I didn't hear a word you said. I was reading the chat.
Oh, what was the chat saying?
I don't know.
More
Something
dicks?
about me making me things dirty.
You do make everything
I
dirty.
do.
I can't have a reasonable Tuesday live stream
I
without
can't
you
wait till next week.
just smutting it up. Oh, we're gonna be me and you.
It's just
No
you and me.
Kadish.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna be busy getting married.
And we're gonna be doing a live stream.
We're gonna be talking about ayahuasca.
You're gonna
and
miss
shit.
so many dicks. There's
so many dicks.
I was saying before I came in
Judo
here-
ditch me and come to the
Yeah.
live stream.
Oh, they're talking about dicks. Oh, man.
Yeah, she's like,
Like,
I'm
wedding's on
gonna show
hold.
up for this one.
Darth Maul says Dopey was hung.
I'm so glad that dude put a giant dick in our chat. It's just
It made the whole thing better.
Made the whole day better. Yeah.
Shout out to that
He
troll.
thought he was trolling us.
No,
You guys suck dick. It's like, okay.
owned.
Whatever.
No, I do want to address this though,
What's that?
and I'd love to get your thoughts on this as well. So when we did Alien recently,
Mhm.
we made the comment about how Jennifer Lawrence was like, oh yeah, my character in this movie was like the first strong female character, and we're like, no, you're not.
Not even close.
But the comment, which is I think is a legit point, is like the only two times you can counter that argument is with Ripley and Princess Leia. That's all anybody ever talks about is Ripley and Princess Leia.
Well, there's been more.
That's what I'm saying.
but-
But there's been more. I know there's been
You
more.
can go clear back to Wizard of Oz. Wasn't Dorothy a strong female?
You think she's anti-establishment because she took down the Wizard
took
of
down
Oz?
the wizard, man?
Yeah, that's
Killed
a
the
deep
witch.
cut.
Killed the witch.
Was the witch establishment? I feel like
I
the
don't know,
wizard
she
was
something.
the wizard was established.
Do some
for sure.
water on that bitch. Let's go.
I mean, she even messed up things with the wizard where she like showed that it was just a normal.
Yeah, she
guy
pulled the
from-
curtain back.
yeah.
Like that's is that where that saying came from? You pulled the curtain away. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Dorothy.
Yeah, and also I always go back to like novels and other not movie media.
Yeah.
We got a lot of examples. So yeah, I feel like before I came here I was saying something about how like we often put too much on actors where we expect them to have kind of the intelligence of the characters they play, and sometimes it's just they just were kids who did well in drama class, and then we're like, what's your opinion on this stuff? And it's just like, she's been busy working on how to show love on a stage to a stranger she never met a minute before that. So it's maybe we shouldn't be going to people who are not like, maybe ask the people who wrote the screenplay about establishment and anti-government female characters, and they'll be like, well, I've been researching my whole life to write this, and it's not the current 22-year-old they brought in to pretend to have those ideals.
It's a solid point. I go back to Kurt Russell when somebody asks him his opinion on some political matter, and he's like, I'm an entertainer. You don't need to know any of that kind of stuff.
No.
I have no opinion. I'm here to have fun and make you laugh.
I mean, truth be told, I prefer strong action women. I like to watch them.
Lara Croft is awesome.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. But this because I'm a dude and I like to see hot chicks fight,
Do cool shit.
do fun stuff, whatever.
Oh, Ren Ishii. You know
Hell
what I
yeah,
mean?
dude.
Hell yeah. I'd watch a
Hell
whole movie with her.
Hell yeah.
Give me that
Yeah.
prequel.
I also like to watch Chris Hemsworth be Thor.
Yeah, sure.
But I'd much rather watch Alita or something, maybe.
It's
kick-ass.
been a minute since I've seen that. Should I rewatch it?
Yeah,
How's the
watch
comic book thing going with you?
It's good. I'm about halfway
Yeah?
through the first one.
Oh, Alita's a great
Yeah.
one. Or Gummu,
Yeah.
I think it's called in Japan.
I've decided I'm going to immerse myself in some Japanese stuff this 2024.
Nice.
I'm learning some new things. So
Yeah, you're going to becoming an elitist. which
Elitist.
is yeah,
Yeah.
Berserk is
elitist.
a great one if you're,
Yeah.
you're digging into Japanese.
Which one?
comics. Berserk.
I was just
Okay.
about to ask you, like, if you'd ever heard of Berserk, because that's my favorite.
All right,
manga.
I'll check it out.
I've been watching it ever since, or I watched the anime like years ago.
Is it like 1,000 episodes?
No,
Where they repeat the last episode for half the new
so
one?
so like the anime is just like a couple episodes,
Okay.
but the manga series
Mhm.
is like huge, and I believe the guy who started just passed away recently.
Yeah, he died recently, but he had a large studio he's working with, and they're going to continue to make it. So at least his, I mean, I think it's be an interesting thing to at least finish it off.
Well, what was funny is like, so the anime series ends at a certain point in the comics, and after I got to the end of the anime, I was like, oh man, I need to know what happens next. And then I see the anime or the manga, and it's like, oh my god, it doesn't end. It's just like
Yeah.
keeps going.
And that was one I haven't seen too much of the anime, but there's certain things like that. And I'd say Miyazaki's Nausicaa, the comic books are just much better than the animated versions.
Well, the big thing right now is One Piece.
Yeah.
And One Piece, like they just had their first season on Netflix, which was fantastic. But the anime and the manga are apparently just like huge. Like it would take you years to get caught up.
I feel like
on
One
that.
Piece is something, it's a show made for people who have too much lifetime and are trying to burn away the extra years.
Yeah, I feel that way about a lot of Japanese manga stuff because it's hard for me to try to break into viewing something from a complete newbie perspective. Because you look at this stuff like Naruto and One Piece, and these things have 1,000+ episodes. I'm never gonna watch all these. It's impossible. So it's just it's like, where do you start? What's something I can get into that's reasonable for me to be able to absorb and check out? Like Alita's got like 6 big thick books
Oh, really?
that I can get through in a few months.
He did an interesting thing with that too.
But
He,
it's just I don't know. There's a lot out there. So
yeah, certainly. With Alita, if I'm remembering right, he basically finished the series
Mhm.
and then was like, wait, let me do this again, and kind of backtracked a little and kept making more manga
Yeah.
of it.
So I think what I'm going to do the Alita manga books, then I'm going to go into this one.
Berserker?
Berserk, yeah, because you can order those things in like omnibuses and things. So
And I tell you though, Berserk is a trip.
yeah, whatever.
It's
I'm
crazy.
into it. I want new shit. That's
Yeah.
what I want. I want new stuff. That's not
Infested.
this doesn't have the word wars or Trek in it or gate. It's just new stuff. I need to expose myself to new.
War Trek Gate
new
is pretty
things.
good though.
Yeah, new war. Yeah,
War Trek Gate.
the Trek gate. Yeah,
Hashtag War Trek 8.
yeah. Somebody should make that book. Star Trek Gate.
No, Trek Gate Wars.
Star Wars Gate Trek.
Wars of the Gate Treks.
Wars. Yeah. So yeah. Actually, I would love some new Stargate.
They
'Cause
keep
it's-
talking about
'cause
it.
it's not involved with a lot of this nonsense, but
I don't know.
What's the
So-
best Stargate?
I like
Atlantis.
SG1.
I like
Okay.
Atlantis.
SG1 is good, or Atlantis. I mean, it depends.
Yeah.
I mean, there were a couple seasons of SG1 that were like primo TV, like especially when they had the replicators and stuff in
Got
there.
a little weird when they got into the Ori shit
Yeah.
at the end. But
What's the one where they have a ship they're going around at the Stargate? And it's basically like
That's
the Star Trek.
Stargate Universe.
Okay.
And that was
Yeah.
my least favorite.
Yeah,
Or
like-
Yeah, I
they were
remember
trying
that.
it hard to be Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, I remember thinking that was, just trying to put it in a different package.
But yeah, 2024 is all about me finding new stuff.
You guys
That's
ever
not-
watched Blake 7?
So.
I have a long time ago.
Nice. Yeah, I remember liking that one quite a bit.
Yeah, that's an acquired taste. I know this one over here really likes White Dwarf or Red Dwarf.
Red Dwarf,
yeah.
that's
I just
fun.
caught up on all the Red Dwarfs because I
Yeah.
was a huge fan of it when I was a teenager. And
I
then
can't
didn't
get him
realize-
to watch it.
Oh,
I've watched it before. I don't like it.
Oh, okay, I thought you said you didn't watch it.
Well,
I
I watched
can't.
a couple episodes and then I was like, this isn't for me. and I shut it
Yeah.
off.
I started watching the first episode and I was like, I don't know
Well,
about this.
the first few episodes are a little weird.
A little weird.
A little weird. You gotta get when Crichton comes on and stuff. Yeah, that's when it gets really fun.
yeah, it is a weird. I don't know. Like, it's one of those things that I love it, but I don't know if I could sell other people on it.
It's a acquired taste. I don't like Doctor Who, but I like Red Dwarf. Let me go figure. I don't know why.
Have you
It
seen
just is what it is.
my selling on Doctor Who is always Douglas Adams, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy author, was the showrunner for a period of the Tom Baker stuff in the 70s. Those are really weird and fun episodes.
$20 super chat from Dennis Wright, longtime supporter of the show and a member for $19.99. Hey, you got rid of my work migraine. Thanks, man.
Nice. You know what? It was the giant dicks.
It's a big old digital dicks.
Big old
It'll
dicks.
do it to you. Get rid of those migraines in a heartbeat.
Not enough people talk about the healing properties of digital dicks.
I love our stream.
Yeah,
Oh,
Vader,
man.
those things bring your blood pressure down.
Dude, my blood pressure is it's dialed in the last few days.
You're doing all right.
I'm on the new med. It's like the same. I take my blood pressure every morning right now. Since I started these new meds and that's mellowing out. It's good. So
Glad you're healthy.
yeah.
It's stressing me out. for a
Super
minute.
healthy.
Super healthy.
Yeah. Have a heart attack any second.
You had like 3 strokes today alone.
Every time we talk about Star Wars, his face just melts a little
Yeah,
bit.
a
He's just
little
like,
bit.
I can't.
You got
That's
any
the
more
correct reaction.
silly
Yeah, what other nonsensical
silly
Hollywood
things that
news do we have?
That was all of our.
That was
news.
all of our
Is it?
topics?
All right, good.
All right. Well, hey, listen, good luck to Gina Carano. I hope she shakes the tree a little bit. And I hope that one old dude replaces the other old dude who's messing everything up. And then the new old dude fixes it so that he can get rid of the old lady.
I hope everybody makes a lot of super chat money from the tweets. I really do. So
Shout out to R2. He texted me too. He texted me a picture of it. He's like, here you go, man.
yeah.
God dang
Thanks,
it.
bro.
Beautiful.
Thank you guys. All right, folks. Thank you so much for watching the show. Really appreciate it. Have a great week. We're going to be pretty busy for the next couple of weeks going into December. December is like our weird month where we kind of like do offshoot content. But Kadish and Jude are getting married this coming week. So we're going to be busy with that.
Who knows what's going on?
I don't know what's happening
We'll
with
be
our
here.
content.
We'll be here
We'll
next week.
probably be here on Tuesday.
One way
We
or
might
another.
get Chris and Nadia from Inside All Day.
Yeah.
We'll see. It's going to be a wild card. So just bear with us and have some fun. Nothing's going to be taken seriously. We're just going to be goofing around, having some fun, but for the end of the year. But
So
Brandon,
you'll finally have your unstructured live stream.
It'll be fantastic.
We've done it before.
I mean,
without you, I think.
Tuesdays are pretty unstructured. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, this is throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Thank you to our super chatters. We got Whiskey Jack, Dork Knight, R to the Icky, and Dennis. R2 and Dennis over here with the $20 super chats. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate it. That's a substantial amount of money. So thank you.
Hold on. Are we gonna live stream the wedding?
No.
I've been thinking about it.
Oh,
What?
that would be pretty funny.
Oh,
Jude would be like,
man.
no.
I mean, we
absolutely
could set
not,
up-
No.
All we'd really need to do is set up a laptop in the corner
Yeah.
somewhere, right? And just have it kind of like high enough to be able to see
Super
everything.
chat. We super chatted the shit out of people.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so.
Like a 4-hour live stream at a
Hell yeah,
wedding.
just live stream it.
It is going to be a nerdy wedding.
That would be pretty funny. Just put a camera, a camera up in the corner.
Yeah.
Just live stream the shit.
Just live stream the whole thing
Yeah,
on the
dude.
channel. Welcome to our wedding.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Jesus,
Ooh, how much money can we make? doing that?
Yeah, maybe if we hit 20,000 subs before the
No,
wedding.
That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's probably not going to happen.
Oh,
5,000.
but that week 15K today.
We did hit
That's-
15K.
That's a big
Big deal.
milestone. That's a
Big
really
deal.
big deal. Thank you everybody for that.
Brandon, tell us more about Moonray and where can people find it? Where can people look for it? You said Steam. It's gonna
Yeah,
be-
I mean the game is still is going to be out soon, but my comic book that I did of it, it's a big hardcover edition of Moonray Volume 1 is available in any comic store you go to, can order it.
Well, is the comic book going to give us like a deeper insight into the game's lore? Is that what the idea
Yeah.
is?
That's exactly the idea.
Okay.
The comic book is basically exploring the storyline of one character, and then the video game is going to have multiple factions and multiple characters you can play.
And the first episode of your comic episode
Issue, sure.
issue is Mother's Skin.
Right.
That sounds intriguing. It's available right now, guys. Hardcover on Amazon.
And what are some of your other books that are out there for people to check out?
King City is the one I mentioned with the cat as a weapon. The Prophet series that I did with a team of guys for 5 books over at Image Comics, and Rain Like Hammers that I have a copy of here. I'll leave with you guys.
Sweet.
Awesome.
A lot of weird science fiction. People like that.
Oh, I see samurai swords. Yeah. Okay, guys. Moonray has samurai swords.
Oh yeah.
We're in.
Well, then it's 4 stars automatically.
Yep. All right, folks. Have a great day. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay salty.